Not every day. You put an engine in a truck that the engine weighs more than a truck.
We're gonna have to make it a lot of room that isn't there. And then we gotta make this extra strong to handle all that extra torque. I didn't know you even had a race truck.
Just another bad addiction. This ain't one of them $200,000 builds, you know. We built that from the junkyard.
Might need to take that thing for a little ride.
Oh, wow, look at that.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. You know, the custom truck scene is so big on the north side of Houston. No matter what I need, I need a drive shaft for one of my builds. So I'm gonna go see my old friend David and his son Daniel. They run a little salvage yard amongst all their other little businesses.
Hey, Bill, what's going on, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Same old thing, hot.
I know, that's right.
Yep.
I came over because I need some.
That's all right. What do you need?
That's what you always tell me, at least.
Yeah. What do you need?
Man, I need a two-piece drive shaft. You know, we always mock up with those things, so.
I have to get them out, but yeah, we got them.
Whether it's their mud trucks or whatever they're interested in at the time, I always like seeing what they're up to. Sometimes I like taking them for a run.
Hey, what you got going on here? Oh, that's a little race truck we've been working on.
What's up, Bill?
What's going on, man?
What's happening, man?
Oh, you know, another day.
So you got your little Colorado and just got after it, huh? Man, let me check this thing out.
All right, let's take it down.
The customization comes in all sort of shapes, sizes. This is just a prime example of that, of just taking an old truck, cramming a big engine in it, big turbo, and just seeing how fast it'd go.
What do you think it is, Bill?
A little LS, huh?
Uh-huh. Everybody got to have an LS nowadays.
Yep.
So, you know, we're just trying to get in where we're fitted, man.
Yeah, you had to make a little room here for the turbo, I see.
Oh, yeah. Just a little. You know, we still haven't put a hood on it.
You don't need all that. Man, I know y'all been building the big mud trucks, but I didn't know you even had a race truck.
Into the airbags, and I got us into the mudding, and now just another bad addiction.
Something to spend money on?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How quick is this thing?
It does all right. You know, we built this truck to roll. I mean, of course, it's got an 88mm turbo. Oh, yeah. 2-speed power glide. Mm-hmm. Got them fresh Hoosiers on the back, too. Fresh new tires. That has no choice but to go. Hey, it rolls out good. That nitrous works, too. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thing's cool, man. So you got the cage in here. Get the harness in here.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have that. Trust me, you're gonna want to use those.
Come over to get a drive shaft, stumble across the Colorado with the crazy LS in it, turbo. It's a good day.
All right, guys, we gotta go out back and get that drive shaft built.
All right, appreciate it.
Anytime, sir.
These guys are the ultimate backyard builders. They take whatever they got, turn it into something cool. Right now for them, it's all about speed, and the faster the better. You know, I'm all about pushing the limits on my builds, so I can definitely understand putting a big engine in a small space. But it's the fun part of doing what we do. You know, I had a customer, Monty, give me a call, said come check out a project that he had for me. And rolling up here today, man, his place is really impressive. Hey, Monty.
Bill, how you doing?
Hey, man, good.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah, man, good to see you. Thanks for having me out.
Absolutely.
So you got a little project for me, huh?
Well, I do. I think it's something you really like.
Man, that's nice. I'm super impressed. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. He's got a couple of 1930 Chevys, a 63 AMC Rambler American, and this 1954 Henry J is one of only 325 ever built. You got a nice collection.
Thank you very much. I've got some stuff I've had in here for 30 years and stuff that I just acquired. So
nice.
A little mix of everything.
Yeah. Which one of these you got for me?
Well, it's this 37 International here. It needs some of your help.
Man, that's a good-looking truck. It's pretty rare to find a 1937 International D2 Harvester in this good a shape. 80 years ago, these were giving Ford and Chevy a run for their money. I just love these body styles on this. It was different. It's not, the Ford and the Chevy that everybody has.
Yeah, they're not that common. It's just amazing to find them in this kind of shape.
Yeah, it looks like it's in great shape.
Yeah.
So, Monty, what do you want to do with this thing?
I love the look. I want to drive it, but it's just not that much fun to drive.
What's under the hood of this?
Well, I think you're going to know what's in there.
Inline.
An old Chevy motor. Somebody put in probably 20 years ago when the old International engine quit.
Years ago, it was a little upgrade, but definitely not anymore. Man, I think, Monty, what this thing needs, international truck, put a Cummins diesel in it.
A diesel?
You can get plenty of no problem.
But it would have to make noise, though. When you start it up, I want to wake up the neighbors.
Oh, it's definitely going to make some noise.
Okay, good.
And with the diesel power plant, we need to stop this thing. And with stopping comes with new suspension. What's this got underneath here? Oh, straight axle on this?
Yeah, bounce,
Yeah. We just need to modernize this, lower it down to the ground, modern brakes, new wheels and tires, really make this thing handle and ride like a modern car. Once we're done with the foundation of this old truck, this thing is going to ride and perform like it's supposed to. What about the interior in this thing?
That seat that's in there is about as comfortable as a buckboard wagon. You bounce around, and you hang onto the steering wheel to keep from flying out of the door. I would leave it to you guys to figure out a way to make that comfortable.
Definitely. I think about this build, it's all about making a custom interior for this that doesn't detract away from the 37 styling. Make it comfortable for you and your wife and still have a nice feel to it.
That I like.
What are we doing back here?
Well, what I'd really like to do is customize this a little bit. My family had a grocery store and a gas station in Alliance, Nebraska, and they had old pickups like that, so I thought maybe I could put Cashner Grocery on here, and it's a little tribute to my dad.
Yeah, we can definitely come up with something with that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I really like when I can tie something personal into a build, and this wood in the bed is a perfect opportunity. I'm ready to get going on this thing, man. It's going to be exciting. It'll be fun.
I think so. It'll be different.
We'll give you the full money.
Oh, I love it.
This truck is 80 plus years old. We got to get rid of everything and start over. It's a beautiful truck, but people don't come to us for restorations. I don't care who you are. Old trucks are cool. Anytime we get to work on a piece of history like this, it's something special. Monty wants something custom, but he wants something to still really look authentic. Something that still has the 30s feel, but he can get in, start it up, and drive it wherever he wants. Builds like this are super cool to me. You get to keep a truck like this on the road and still get to put my spin on it. It doesn't get better than that.
What are you doing? What's up? Remember in old times when you used to do that for a living at the service station?
Yeah. Just a customer of ours, but he wants to keep the 37 styling.
And it's actually pretty good shape for a 37.
Yeah, this thing's in real good shape. I'm thinking on this, let's pull out this old inline 6 and replace it with the inline 6. But not just an inline 6, 12-valve Cummins.
Oh, we're going to put a Cummins in here?
Yeah.
It's not going to fit real easy.
No, it isn't just a drop in, drop out. It's an inline 6 to inline 6, but he's a little bit involved with that, right? To make that other engine fit, we're going to have to cut the firewall all out and just make it a lot of room that isn't there. Monty's a pretty tall guy, so we want to build the sheet metal around the engine as tight as we can, so it gives him a lot more foot room in it. And with that, we want some upgrades underneath the front end also. Has a straight axle underneath this thing. Doesn't stop, doesn't ride, doesn't drive
like a stagecoach with a straight axle under this thing.
Yeah. We're going to build independent front suspension for it with some nice disc brakes on it and a big 20-inch wheel with the same overall styling that's on there now.
That's going to look really nice. What are we going to do about the interior?
Check this thing out. As you can see, no frills here, right?
Man, I've seen farm tractors with more options than this.
Right. We want a comfortable seat. Want to change out the column to put new glass in it too, because just full interior.
This is Bill's. It's just a little bit. It's a 5-minute job.
Yeah, it's an hour-ish. As far as the back goes, check this out. You know, back here, of course, we're going to get it down with coilovers also. Put a Ford 9-inch in it, you know, fuel cell.
Yeah.
You know, on the bed of the truck, his family has had a grocery store throughout the years. So he wants to put, you know, a little plaque on the wood here to commemorate his family history and the store they've had.
So it makes it real personal.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool idea doing that.
Well, man, let's get this thing on the rack and let's figure out how we're going to get the engine out of this thing and put that other one in.
All right.
As good as this truck looks after 80 years, you just don't know what Tim and Jamie are going to find after tearing down.
Oh, man, what do you think? Little baling wire right here. Little coat hanger right here. Gas tanks had a couple issues in the past. You can see where they patched it a couple times. That's little clevises from the local hardware store. Check that out. Man, I know my grandfather do whatever it took to stay out in the field. He farmed that field from the time the sun came up to the sun went down. This looks like, well, enough look, man. Let's get it done. Man, look at this right here. That big old arch in it. Looks like they definitely might have jumped it once or twice. I mean, I'd have loved to see this thing going through the air. Imagine how it felt like that. I really like working on trucks like this because you get to see how they did it back in the day. These were made by hand, you know, an assembly line instead of now like the cars made by robots and machinery. It's a different kind of feel when you're working on a vehicle like this. It's a piece of history. Ready? Probably good. Can you lift up? Can you pry right there with the pry bar? Yeah. I'm gonna pry it out and it's gonna flip up. Okay, back up just a little bit. Okay, up. Up, 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 up. All right.
I want to go with the Cummins 12 valve in the International. I like the contrast of putting one of the toughest. They stopped making the 12 valve back in 1998. So I had to have the Wells family find one. What's up, fellas?
What's up? We got your diesel. There it is.
This it, huh?
Yes,
oh,
sir.
12 valve. Where'd you get this thing at?
Out of 97 Dodge, ready to go, bro. We got the same engine in our drag truck.
This 1,100-pound, 5.9-liter engine has over 400 foot-pounds of torque. But what makes this stand out is its durability. Man, this thing looks like hell, but it runs good, right? It's gonna run good.
She's solid, bro.
It has a fully mechanical fuel injection system, so it basically self-lubricates. This thing will pretty much outlive us all. This is exactly what we needed.
Glad we could help. The 12 valve Cummins, the best diesel engine ever made. So you can't beat these things. Once this thing's all done, we'll have awesome fuel mileage and this much power in that little over truck.
It's gonna get it. That's for sure.
It's huge, man. Watch out, Tim. Not every day you put an engine in a truck that the engine weighs more than a truck. It's pretty unique.
This is gonna be fun.
We got a ton of support underneath here. We're going to start by leveling the body and frame all back up. We don't want to go in and just cut the whole firewall out. We're just getting it in, seeing what the next cuts need to be. Kind of put it half-ass center, Jamie.
That's pretty close right there, Bill.
So it's just a little at a time. Cut a little bit, inch it in a little bit. See what else you have to cut. Cut a little more, inch it in. Get a little at a time so you don't have this huge opening in the firewall to have to recreate later.
You know, getting this heavy engine in this truck is a challenge. But not only getting it in, you got to get it mounted properly. Now we've made tabs off the frame back here. There's the tubing coming down, going over a center mount. It'll all be rubber mounted. The motor be mounted on rubber. Transmission mounts be mounted on rubber. We just totally reinforced everything 100%. It's beefier, it's heavier. It's not going nowhere. Ready? Pretty much anytime you go with a bigger engine, it's going to come with a bigger transmission. So I'm making a bigger trans tunnel and a new subfloor. So we came in with some 3/4 inch square tubing, built a new structure. That's going to be the skeleton that holds the new floor. So we'll cut some sheet metal. Sheet metal will connect the firewall, and we'll be done with the floor. There's several ways to do this, but me personally, I like to bend as many bends as I can. It's less places you have to weld to do, and less heat on the panel. I'm going to drill some holes so when I push it down from the top, I can weld it from the top. And you look up from the bottom, you don't see any welds, you don't see anything, it's all slicked out and looks good.
Back when this International rolled off the factory, it would have been hard to imagine the torque we're putting into it. So we got to build a whole new super heavy-duty suspension, starting with these control arms.
From the center of the bolt hole to the center of the ball joint cup, we've laid out for exactly 10 inches. So now what we're going to do, we're going to build some pipe to come over to connect the ball joint to the bushing. That's going to be the structure of our control arm. Now we have the skeleton all done up. Jamie's making a plate that's going to go in here. All this will be welded together, and the plate will be welded on this to make everything extra strong. We need the transmission jack over here. Go up a little bit. So once we got the bottom control arm on, we'll put the spindle on, the rotor on, make sure everything functions, everything's good. Then we'll make the coilover mounts. These two tabs right here are going to weld to the plate. Watch your finger. The plate is going to hold the arm. That's what's going to hold the truck up in the air and give it adjustment. Cycle it up and down, see how good it stays up and down, and we'll go from there.
Front suspension's all mocked up, so Tim and Jamie are moving to the rear and start notching the frame.
The stock frame rails have a natural curve over the rear axle, so we're just going to open up the notch a few inches. It'll maintain the structural integrity while overall changing the stance and look of the truck. What I need to do now is contour this flat bar to the shape of this radius right here. So sometimes it's about just getting your piece pretty close and then just forming it in as you go. So I'll start cranking it with the C-clamp, just getting it in the shape. And I'll keep tacking welding it until it's perfect. So you can see the inside now, it's capped. It's got a nice shape to it. It's contoured to the template. I need to go ahead and weld that in, grind it down, and be good to go. I actually like the way this looks. It looks better than the original. It's got a little bit of style to it, nice shape. It's going to look good on the frame.
Dave and Daniel's truck looked good in the garage, so they invited me out to Houston Motorsports Park to see Daniel take some runs. Man, that thing looks mean with that big old turbo thing in the grill. It looks like fun for sure.
This ain't one of them $200,000 builds, you know. We built that from the junkyard.
Just what you had, just make it work.
So far, it's been doing good.
Man, Dave, that old truck's running good. Looks like it's hooking up good and going straight. It's making a little power too.
Hey, it ain't bad for a backyard build. I think it goes.
You know, for Daniel and Dave to put this truck together with just parts they have laying around to make it run as good as it does, you know, they did a really good job. Oh, Daniel can drive pretty good too.
Oh yeah, I showed him how to do that. He's got it.
Me and Dave go way back. He came over and watched me ride my bike around the neighborhood, his thing. You know, Northside, we're all a big family. We all know each other. We all look out for each other, especially if you got something cool going on. We may not come from the nicest part of town, but we do know how to make do from what we have times 100. It's just really cool to see. You know, I try to keep that mentality in everything we do. Always pushing ourselves to go from here to here.
One more little nudge.
There we go. That's it on the money.
We got an extra large diesel for this 37 International. So we got to build an extra strong custom 4-link for the suspension.
The crossmember here is pretty much the most important part of the rear suspension. Everything trails off of this, so all of our suspension 4-link components mount to the crossmember. The diesel engine that we're putting in here, it's got a lot of torque. So this is super important for it to be strong, square, and level. We'll go ahead and put the Heims in between it and bolt it, snug them. You know, in this particular application, the parallel 4-link is the way to go because it has 4 points of contact linking the axle to the crossmember. The more points of contact you have, distributes that torque all around. So it's good right there.
Now the next step is our diagonal link. That's the final link of the whole link system. With the diagonal link from a fixed point to the point on the rear end at an angle, it keeps the rear end from moving side to side. Very key part of the suspension.
Watch your face, Jim.
Now we have all this set up. We're going to run 2 tabs off here, 2 tabs off here. That's what's going to hang the coilover.
We're going with coilovers instead of airbags on this because he wants a static drop with great performance.
It's a coilover, a shock. The suspension's going to ride on the coil spring of this. It's going to travel up and down with the coilover. And the internal of it acts as a shock. These are our mock-up coilovers we use for everything. When it gets back from powder coat, we'll put the other coilovers on with the new springs, and you'll see the final setup.
Now that we button up the suspension on the 37 International, Tim and Jamie are going to reshape these fenders so we can get that big old wheel in the back. And it'll make it meaner and look a little more modern.
The way this fender is shaped, it rolls this wide. So we need to extend the top of this fender over to the bedside so we'll be able to fit a wide wheel in it. So we marked a bunch of high spots on it. So you cut along that high spot. So when you continue over, it doesn't look like it goes up, comes down, and then continues over. So this is the half of the fender we're going to keep. The other half of the fender we left bolted to the bed. So we knew exactly where to line this back up. A little trick I've learned in the past. Give it a little strip like this. Cut the first piece, the outer side, the most important side. Leave it attached to the metal. Do all your final grinding before you cut the second one. Just makes it a lot easier to work with. Basically what we're doing is making this flange to hold it to the bedside. This is going to bolt to the bedside. The fender will weld to this. We're going to tack this back onto this fender. Now the template in the back is the same as this radius on the outside. We'll come in here, we'll cut a section out of the back. Then we'll sheet metal from here to the template, tack it, get that one good. We'll work our way to the front and do the front piece. The flange that we built is what's going to hold it to the bedside. We can unbolt that. The whole fender comes with big fat tires. It's what the truck needed in the back instead of that little...
Definitely.
It looked like a motorcycle fender in the back, where now it looks like a fender.
You had to throw something in there about a motorcycle. Yeah. I don't think so.
We're putting a lot of custom upgrades into the International. But when it comes to the interior, we're going to refurbish the seats to still keep some of that 1930s look. The hard part about using the old seats, sometimes the springs just twist and break. There's not a lot of guys that's still around that can fix these, but Joe's been doing this longer than I've been around. Man, I got a 37 International, still, you know, a vintage looking truck, and I want to keep that vintage feel with a little more modern touch.
Yeah, we'll get rid of all this horsehair, and I'll put some nice comfort foam on there, tie the springs up, fix the framework.
Man, you know what I need.
Nothing to it, buddy. I've been helping you for years. You think I'm going to stop now?
Better not.
No problem, buddy.
Let's get it loaded up.
All right. Bill's been my friend since he was a boy. When I first built this first building, and he said, "Oh, I can do that," and I said, "Yeah, no problem." But he never stopped. He just kept going, building more and more and more. Oh wow, just broke loop right there. That used to go there, and this used to go here. So we're going to have to bend a new edge wire and put it in here to attach these springs back together, make it a permanent part of the seat. Where's Bill at when you need him? I need a welder, man. But I've done this ever since I was a kid. They used to make them a lot better than they do now. Now, they don't have springs in the seats no more. They just got foam on them, so they're not as comfortable. I think we need to get this right here. These young guys now, all they do is fix foam. So if you need your springs fixed, you gotta come to an old guy like me. We're starting to get a shape to the seat. We're gonna put a piece of carpet on here to keep the springs from cutting up through the foam. You wrap these edges. We're fixing to make our patterns. We're gonna make it out of another material that's not our leathers. Watch your fingers. That way we don't make no mistakes with expensive material. This is our black leather we're going to make our seats out of. It's nice, pliable, soft. The cut. Let's see how it looks. Now all we got to do is staple this down, and we're going to have a good-looking leather seat. We got one seat down, one more to go, and we'll get this back to Bill.
Monty loves the vintage feel of this truck, but he wants modern touches on it. So I called my boy Lewis in. He's going to build some wood panels for the side of this bed. Still give it that vintage feel, but with custom touch.
What's up, man?
Man, need your help again.
All right. What do we got?
Monty would like to pay a little homage to his family's history. His dad has had, grocery stores in the past. I need a wood panel for each side of the bed and put their name in the bedside here somewhere.
Yeah, that'll look good.
The wheels are going to be a charcoal. The inside's all dark. So I'd like, a dark stain on this thing too, so it ties everything together.
Okay. Well, if you're going charcoal on the wheels, we could do something really cool and go with a Shosugiban finish.
What?
A Shosugiban finish. It's a traditional Japanese finish used to preserve wood, and what we'll actually do is char the wood to give it that charcoal appearance. Nobody else would have it, that's for sure.
And that sounds cool, man. Let's do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Ready to get it?
Take this over here and get started. We're going to take this piece, take our router and route it to the exact shape and give it a little profile on the edge. We're going to put some nice styling on the sides of it so it's not square, and it gives it a really nice detailed edge. All we have to do now is put the Shosugiban finish on it. So we're gonna fire up the torch and get started. So it's really important whenever you're doing a Shosugiban finish that you keep the flame moving. We don't want to keep it concentrated in one spot too long because it could potentially catch on fire, and we definitely don't want that. So as you can see, as we're doing this, it starts to really highlight the grain of the wood, and what that's doing is it's burning out the soft wood of the oak and just exposing that hardwood, starting to look really, really nice. Get that look that Bill was going for when he said he wanted the charcoal gray. What better look to give them than an actual piece of burnt wood. Now I'm gonna wet it down just so it doesn't get too hot. Now you can see how all that water is we're looking for not just the look, but this bed will be protected for many years to come. Okay, so now that we've got the Shosugiban finish done, we're going to get the letters engraved onto this, and then it'll be ready to put on the truck.
For me, one of the best parts in building custom builds is that it's art. But this ain't no sculpture, we get to drive them. And the more I think about David and Daniel's drag truck, the more I want to give it a run. I at least gotta ask. Look like they're around here, so they're probably out back messing around. What all my come get us. Man, here we are. Little shortcut turned into getting stuck. And that's one thing I hate, being stuck in the mud.
And once again, we gotta come and save Bill's ass. Once again. You know, when I come back there seeing Bill stuck in that mud and he had on them pretty white shoes, I just could not believe it.
I think we're getting some boots for Christmas.
Yeah.
Another month, man. Need a little help here?
Man, please, dude.
We take care of you. You already know that.
Don't get it all muddy, Bill.
You didn't bring me a blanket to lay on?
Sure. Hey, hold on. I'll be right back with that. Yeah.
You know, I wanted to talk to you about that race truck.
Do I need to go get it to pull you out?
Nah, I don't recommend that.
Man, I might need to take that thing for a little ride.
I don't know. Look what you're doing back here.
You never been stuck before, huh?
No.
You know, we're going to take it out next weekend, man, but I think we got other problems now. How about next weekend?
You won't let me drive?
She's ready.
Anytime, man.
All right, cool, man.
Let's get you out of this right now, Bill.
Center. Had to go backwards.
Man.
You know, sometimes getting people out of the mud, it's easy, but other days it's a lot of work.
You know, I enjoy that part of off-roading. You're going to get stuck, you know.
All right.
These things happen.
This bumper's for looks. So.
It's going to look good behind this Jeep.
Let's do it.
Come on, you got it. Straighten up, Bill. Straighten up.
Man, thanks.
Anytime, Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The truck's ready.
Man, appreciate it. I'll see you
We got you. We got you.
You know, I appreciate David and Daniel inviting me out today. I can't wait to get in that driver's seat, see what this thing can do.
Back. Yeah, there you go.
So Daniel, tell me about it real quick, man. Give me a little tutorial.
All right. Make sure your steering wheel's latched on. You got your water pump here. You're going to go all the way back to first gear. Bam.
First.
Yes, sir. Second.
That's it.
When you let go of that button, you're going for a ride.
You're leaving.
Cool, man. I got this. Let me suit up and let's see what this thing will really do.
Oh, yeah. You gotta have this on.
Case catch on fire.
I know you like to go in circles, but we'll see how your driving skills are straight.
Keep it straight.
Yeah,
Hey, you got this, brother. You got it. You got it. Handle it.
I'm doing a burnout. I can feel, you know, this thing's got a little power.
And not bad for first pass.
Yep.
Man, releasing that button, feeling just the torque of this engine, the power, pulling you back in the seat and just holding this thing straight the whole time. Man, it's just exhilarating.
Well, what do you think, man? What do you think? What up? What do you think?
Oh, truck runs good, boy.
And the 6 is on the first pass?
That's rolling.
You know, it's a great way to start off your day. You don't need coffee or energy drink. Adrenaline rush is the best way to get it going. Man, that was fun, man. I tell you what, I've been needing that. You know, working so hard at the shop, man, you just get in the grind and get to come out here on a day like this and really release the frustrations, man. It just clears your mind, and
hey,
I needed it, man. I really appreciate that.
Does that baby roll or what?
It does, man. It runs really good.
We're gonna build one.
You better watch it.
That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing.
To fit the 12-valve diesel and the 37 International, we had to pull off the turbo, amongst other things. Once this thing is running, the Wells family is going to have to figure out how to put all that stuff back on there and make the hood close. That 12-valve, it's in here.
I see that.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of room under the hood of this thing.
Yeah, Bill, for sure. I can tell we're going to have to move this charger, run a new custom intake to the compressor on the charger, return line, oil lines, fuel lines. This thing will fire up today, no problem.
Cool. Let me know if you need something, man.
Thank you, bro. So we got a big engine, very little space. So first things first, we got to figure out what we're going to do with this turbo. We're going to have to move this manifold, pull it in more, so you can run any exhaust or piping in here that we need to do. That's going to be tight, especially here.
Oh, we're going to have to lower it.
Yeah, if we can cut this off and weld that flat and drop it down, then I can put a 90 there.
We're going to have to modify the exhaust manifold and move the turbo up and forward so we'll have room for the downpipe. Because this turbo weighs so much, we want to keep as much metal on this manifold as we can, give us more welding surface, and keep this area strong. Alright, that looks good. Let's pack it up.
I think we're ready to go, guys. Alright, Clay, work the starter. TJ, when you start getting fuel up there, Dad, just stand there, look pretty.
What we like about these 12 valves of 5.9 is that they're very, very tough and rugged. They're simple to work on, and they make some of the greatest noises on the planet.
Alright, ready?
We gotta run a 12 valve, boys. Turbo's finished, fuel lines are ran. All that's left now is just to make it look pretty.
Well, it all started with this one right here.
The first truck I ever got was a 2001 Dodge. My mom drove it forever pulling her horses, and it quit running one day. He said, look, for your first truck, you fix it, it's yours. And I researched it, fixed it, it's went from there.
He started fixing his truck up and racing everyone around town. And before we knew it, everyone was calling him and dropping their trucks full of trucks. And we were like, well, I guess we better start a shop.
And even poor Clay got suckered into all this.
I was the dedicated flashlight holder for a long time. It was pretty great. I slowly graduated into more the technical side of it.
Between the three of us, I mean, we can do anything.
You know, as a dad, I'm living the dream to be able to work with my sons every day. It's awesome. These two guys have taken this way further than I ever dreamed. I'm proud of them. I'm blessed, and I'm glad that we all get to do this together.
Help me do this real quick.
We got the chassis back from powder coat on the 1937 International Harvester, and it's all hands on deck putting together the rolling chassis with custom 20-inch wheels and tires.
Bring it down just a little bit, Tom. Stop.
Looks at home right there, right?
Looks nice. Looks good.
You know, if you look from the outside, all the changes are pretty subtle, but this thing is completely transformed. You know, Monty had a talk with something really cool and custom. Well, there's next to nothing 30s underneath this truck anymore. You know, I hope he likes it, because I know I do. I gotta say, this is one of my favorites. I'm gonna give it back to Monty today, reluctantly.
Hey, man.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm excited. I got to tell you.
I'm excited for you, too. When I came to your house a while back, you wanted the farm truck vintage feel, but something you could just get in and drive and terrorize the neighborhood.
Maybe irritate the neighbors a little.
We definitely got you hooked up with that for sure.
The anticipation's about to get the best of me.
Let's check it out.
Okay, cool. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's amazing. Oh, man. Gee, Merry Christmas. I can't believe it. Oh, my God. Oh, the smell, the noise, the stance. It's perfect. Like it? Crazy. Hey, man, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I can't wait to see the nuts and bolts on this thing. This is crazy.
Once we got going on this thing, we've just gutted everything. At one point, it was just a cab.
Just a cab and frame.
We started building from there. When you came in, this thing was pretty much 100% original. That's cool for the vintage look. As far as drivability on this thing, one of the main things I know you wanted was that diesel engine, so we got a Cummins 12 valve in this thing.
Put a 12 valve Cummins in this thing?
Wasn't an easy fit in this truck.
Oh my God. about that? How in the world did they stuff that big motor in that little truck?
Pretty much only see the front 4 cylinders, right?
Yeah, that's it.
The other 2 are inside the cab.
Okay, good.
You know, that isn't an easy trick there. We cut out the old firewall, got it in place, and just pretty much built a new firewall, new transmission tunnel around the engine.
That's amazing. Amazing. When I fire this up, I think all the neighbors around me are going to know that the old International's running. This all fits in there, the hood closes and doesn't stick out. That is just off the scale cool.
We took out the old straight axle, the over end, and we just scrapped all that.
Yeah.
Built an independent front suspension, 4-link, a new 9-inch in the back with all coilovers all the way around. This thing can handle any torque this engine puts out. The attitude's right now. You see how this thing sits on the coilovers?
That's a perfect stance I wanted. Tire width. They're kind of like the old wheels that came off of it.
Right.
Exactly what I was looking for. It's amazing.
And to get it down that low, we had to...
You nailed it. They're not out of proportion. They match the front. It's perfect. Most people will never notice it. I had to look at it a couple times to see what had happened. All the subtle custom features that are really off the scale, you can't see them. They're so subtle, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Oh, man. Look at that. This truck had never had it so good, right? You know? I mean, there's just bare metal here. That's awesome.
Still, you know, the original seat, but just, you know, totally redone. Still has that, you know, the finished look, but still has that custom feel also.
I'd say you nailed it because it just was all brand new.
I think you're going to be just very comfortable inside there when you're passing everybody up.
Yeah, I like that part, the passing part.
You know, Monty, you had those steak pockets on the back.
Yeah.
Steak belongs on your plate, not on the bed. So we filled in all the holes where the steak pockets were. We moved the wood down on the bed sides, and it has a spot for your family son.
I like that a lot. Subtle, but it's important to me that it's on there.
Man, it was really nice to be able to work on something old like this, you know, from seeing like a Nebraska truck, then taking it to where we brought it today. It's nice to see a finished product and a happy customer like yourself.
Yeah, man, you nailed it. Thank you guys very much. That is awesome. It's crazy good. I can't wait to get out. And
you know, once again, my guys killed it on this. Hey, Monty, enjoy this truck. You're going to have a lot of fun, you know, driving, cruising, and terrorizing the neighborhood. Little step.
So how much more money do I owe you?
This little puny bumper. And I ain't going to cut it. This thing's finally starting to look like something.
1934 Buick.
It looks perfect.
I'll tell them we're cutting this up.
We'll take this original engine out, put a late model Chevy in it.
We're going to piss some people off.
We're going to show it the respect it deserves.
Get some shocks in here.
He wants this thing to be able to drop on the ground also.
Holy shit, that's beautiful. And it's not yellow.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
That's them, huh?
That's it, man.
8-inch springs.
Yes, sir.
That's what we need.
It's perfect.
It's going to put this thing in the perfect ride height. Let's go ahead and get these things underneath here. Get little one. Let's knock this thing out. Let's get it bolted up. Everything is extra large on this 1996 International dump truck. It's one of the biggest builds we've ever done size-wise.
All right, let's go.
We have these leaf springs arched an extra 8 inches. You know, it's not every day we get to convert a huge old work truck into a show-quality, flatbed, militaristic truck. But man, when we're done, there's not going to be another one like it.
That was kind of difficult.
That was a little difficult. You ready for the next one?
Hey, yeah, let's do it real quick.
I know that look. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to do to the dump truck. A lot. I mean, rear
suspension, parallel 4-link with the big, huge triple convoluted bags.
You got the whole rear end, hangers, 4-link, bag mounts, shock mount. It'll take twice as long to do the back of that truck.
Twice as long to do everything on the truck. Build the bumper, paint the thing, the whole interior.
Wasn't the engine really messed up?
Yes, that reminds me too. I put a call in with the one-way diesel guys. They're coming down, and they're going to tidy up the engine compartment and get this thing running good. At least we're getting a custom-made bed for it. It's going to be really cool. Front suspension's done, but, you know, everything's taking so much longer. Everything's bigger, heavier than we're normally working with.
I had a feeling you're fixing to tell me like you need it tomorrow or something.
You know, we got a little time on it, but it's getting way, way behind for sure. Ready to go get after it?
Well, let's go.
Let's go do it, man. We already tore the bed off, made and installed the hangers. Now we can get going on the rear suspension. We got a super huge truck, so we need some super huge bag mount. You know, we usually use 3/16 D plates for the bag mounts, but on this one, we're gonna make bigger, thicker circle plates out of 5/16. This is the foundation of everything. This is gonna support every bit of the truck's weight, so this thing needs to be super strong. Then we'll have our spacer to simulate the bag when it's at ride height. Gonna mount that up underneath the frame. Where they're gonna be, and this thing looks so beefy in the back. I want to continue the bag mounts to look beefy too. So I want something just mean looking, right?
Hell yeah.
So I think we ought to come right off the axle up to the bag mount, and then all the way across to the other bag mount, and then down to the axle.
Okay.
Just with two.
Got it.
We'll just bend it. We're not going to roll it or anything because it's a boxy truck, so we'll continue with just square bends. It's still going to look really cool and be really strong. Looking good, man. We got the diagonal link, got the 4-link, got the bag mounts. You know, one more step.
Shock time.
That's it. We need a bottomed out measurement of our shock. So that's why we made a quick jig. Makes it super easy to duplicate. You know, with the really large size of this truck, you know, it's going to need some good dampening shocks, especially with the big triple bellow bag. You want something that's going to control the bounciness. I mean, that's basically what a shock does. It controls the rebound of the suspension. You know, sometimes it just looks like we throw a shock in place. Oh, building suspensions, placing shocks, you learn what to do and what not to do, and you improve each and every time. Every vehicle is a little different as far as weight, the angle of the shock, how stiff the shock is, relating to the weight of the vehicle, to what type of suspension, how long the suspension bars are. I mean, there's variables on everything. You know, we got some good stiff shocks at the proper angle. This thing's gonna ride really, really good.
Hey, man, what's going on?
A good trip for you?
Oh, absolutely. Great roads all the way up to Houston from Oklahoma.
Man, I sure appreciate you coming down.
I think we may have built exactly what you need for this build.
Cool, man. Let's check it out. A lot of times, we just build the new truck beds. But interest of time, I designed one that Billy made just for this truck. Man, the first thing you notice is that big wheel well.
Exactly. I hope you got a big enough tire to fit this.
Definitely.
I'll tell you, man, when I saw the drawings, I was concerned, but I know you, it's all good. Got your gooseneck hitch, your receiver hitch built in, so be able to tow and haul with that big rig.
Yeah, this thing's cool. You know, this isn't off the shelf.
It's not off the shelf, I'll assure you. Certainly.
Get off and get it on the truck. How much does this thing weigh, you think?
I don't know. I hadn't built it before.
What's going on, man?
Man, I need your help, buddy. This truck is just big, mean, huge lip, big tires. This little puny bumper.
Man, that ain't gonna cut it.
I want to leave the holes, the hooks, the bumper mounts, everything here.
Okay.
So all I'll have to do is split it right here, straight down here, and then straight across.
We'll just carry that all the way across.
We'll split it like that, and then all we have to do is add 8 inches in the middle. Put it all right back together.
I'm gonna go ahead and section it in the middle. We'll have a much more aggressive bumper that's gonna look perfect on this truck. All right, so I got my filler piece now to go ahead and connect my bottom of the bumper to the top of the bumper where I section it. If I fit this properly, I won't have any issues down the road when I'm going to weld all this together. Because if it's not lined up, I'll be fighting the metal the whole time I'm welding it. All right, so I got my centerpiece in. I'm gonna go ahead and start tacking the edges right here to make it a perfect fit. Okay, so I got the bumper looking pretty good. The 8-inch section in there. I'm really happy with the way it fit. So the next thing to do is go ahead and put the side pieces on. You just gotta do it by eye. I like that fancy footwork. It's pretty close. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack it in. So everything looks pretty good. Everything's welded solid. The next step is go ahead and mount it up to the truck and see how it looks.
The owner, John, wants a really unique truck. You know, one that can win trophies, but also get to work. So we're gonna add a winch behind the bumper. With something this size, you never know when you're gonna need one.
Okay, so now that I got the bumper mounted on here and sectioned, everything's good on it. I'm gonna go ahead and start mounting my winch. Try to get the winch centered up somewhat behind the bumper. So first thing is to do is go ahead and start building the brackets and go ahead and mount the winch. Man, that's perfect.
Get this over to Rudy, get it burned out, and get it on the truck.
Winch bracket, I'm gonna go ahead and stick in the brake and put a 90-degree brake on it. Once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and bring it to the truck and fit it up. Now that I got my winch bracket bolted to my winch, so I'm going to go ahead and put some tack welds on it. Then I'll go ahead and put my bumper on it and check my clearance. So this is pretty much a slide for the cable. Basically, we're trying to center this up with the winch. We don't want it too high, we don't want it too low. We want it to be centered so when it winds up or unwinds, that it's not in a bind. But it's pretty important to get this pretty close to the center of the winch, the drum, and then it'll be right. I overcut it just a little bit so the winch cable doesn't fray or catch on the metal. Pretty happy with it, looks good, looks right where it needs to be, so he'll be able to help people out or help himself out in a bind.
Big part of transforming the overall look of this 1996 International dump truck is so now it's 9 feet long, which is about 3 feet shorter than it was. 9 foot, 109 inches. We're cutting the frame and boxing it in so it'll look like it came from the factory like this. And it'll be just as strong. Close your gap up. You know, in the early days of a big build like this, it can be hard to see how we're going to turn the old dump truck into a mean military-looking truck. But you got to keep the faith and just make it happen bit by bit. You know, when a custom car guy and an antique come together, that's just a combination to make something really cool and over the top. You know, Javier's in a lowrider club. He's got to show up and show off. He's got to keep his rep up. We built a ton of cars for Javier, like this 46 Chevy right here. And anytime he calls, we're happy to help.
Hey, Bill. How's it going, man? Good to see you.
Hey, real good. Good to see you.
Man.
Good to see you. Man, your cars are looking good.
Oh, man, thanks. Remember this one?
Yeah, that thing's still looking good, too.
And you did a great job on that. I'm a welder by trade, and I know his welds are perfect. Funny to say that, but
Before you know.
and you've done 3 for me. I've got 1 more for you, though.
Let's go check it out.
Let's go.
Man, that's a good-looking car.
1934 Buick.
This thing's like new.
80 years old. I found it in North Carolina. Guy had it in the garage for years.
This thing was top of the line back in the day. You don't find many 1934 Buick Model 57s looking this original, this clean. Well, what do you want to do to this? I mean, it looks perfect.
You know, Bill, I like driving. And right now, I can't drive this thing. The car's not reliable, it overheats. So I want to be able to go where I want to go and not have any problems at all.
So what's under the hood now?
It's straight A. You want to look at it?
Wow, this thing is cool.
Pretty old, isn't it?
Straight 8? You don't see that a lot.
No.
So you want to take this original car, take this original engine out, and replace it with something else.
Bill, that's what I want to do.
This is one of the very few times that I'm a little hesitant about taking this car apart.
We're going to piss some people off.
Definitely. Some people are going to be mad.
You know, a lot of people don't like changing parts. They like to keep cars all original, but I like driving them. So
original engine out, put a late model Chevy in it. That way you got your reliability, fuel economy, power, something you can just get in and drive wherever.
That's what I want, Bill.
That's what you're going to get. If we're already going that far with this thing, we might as well put some air suspension on this thing and get it down really low. I know how you and your boys like to ride low.
We roll fast, but we also roll low.
Gotta lower it.
You gotta lower it.
You know, to even get this thing a little lower, we'll put a little bit lower profile tire and take these wheels and change the color. Just make it stand out a little more.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's got to be it. We can't chop the top or cut the interior out or paint it a different color or anything. I mean, we're already committing blasphemy with the Buick people. You ready to piss some people off?
That's why I called you, Bill.
Man, bringing a car in this old, this original, this cool, it's a shame just to do anything to it other than wash it. And we're just going to tear it all apart. I have my reservations, but I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it's us that's going to get our hands on it. We're going to show it the respect it deserves. And, you know, this car is so original. There's nothing been done to it. So we're going to be the first ones to do that. All our parts and pieces that we're going to build are going to make sure the car is done perfect.
Didn't you guys have one of these when you were little? Brand new?
Man, first gotta wash this thing, clean it up a little bit, a little maintenance, right?
Customer's got a different idea on that one.
Don't tell me we're cutting this up.
That's what he wants, man. The problem with this thing is the straight 8 in it is just not reliable for him. He wants something he can just get in, you know, turn the key, start it up, cruise wherever he wants to go, and not have to worry about all the issues that come with the old technology here. So what we're going to do is pull this out, put a late model LS in it, something he can just get in it, hit the key, and go wherever he wants, not have to worry about overheating or anything. We're going to replace the rear end, give him something a little more of a strength to it, man. This one definitely won't hold up to the power LS puts out. You know, new drive line, the whole new running gear, disc brakes, front and back. He wants this thing to be able to drop on the ground also. So we got to replace the straight axle in the front of this thing, replace it with independent front suspension and air suspension on top of that. So when he gets where he's going, drop this thing on the ground.
Hell yeah.
Man, you really don't have any issue cutting this thing up, huh?
If it ain't cut, it ain't custom.
I hear you, man, but you know, we want to give it a little extensive style. You know, something maybe like a coil pack cover to maybe go with the styling of the car.
It'll make not as many people hate us for putting an LS on this thing.
It doesn't matter what we do. They're going to hate us for pulling this one out. Let's get this thing up on the rack, start tearing it apart. Cool. First things first, the little one's got to rip out the old suspension and then the motor.
Man, it's crazy this old car has a gearbox style mechanism on the top of it. Usually they just have a bushing and a straight bolt, but since this is definitely not a gearbox, it's more than likely something with gears and oil. Man, they were smart back then. Everything's pretty much off the bottom. Now we can go ahead and just get this grill off. Then we can pull the engine out. Whew, that was heavier than I thought. Man, dude, look at all those springs.
And they don't really make them like this anymore, do they?
Nah, they don't at all. Here, let's get this on so we can get this motor out of here.
All right.
It was like a Cummins engine, so huge.
I don't think I've ever seen one like it, man.
I wonder if Al Capone used this car.
Probably not, man. We don't see any bullet holes in this engine.
Designing the suspension on this old school Buick definitely has some challenges. None of our off-the-shelf parts are going to work, so Ryan's got to get busy by making all custom parts.
We're going to start now with making the mounts for the two links. As you can see, what we get to work with here, we would typically just make our own cross member, but with the structure and everything that's going on here, I don't think it's necessary. We can reinforce this and build brackets off of this, and it will work just as well, and it will look great. That's perfect. Taking my templates over to Rudy so you can burn them out. Hey, dude. What's up? Is that quarter? That's quarter. That's quarter. I was going to have you cut 2 of these out for me so I could just cut this while you were doing that, but since that's quarter, I'm just going to make you cut all of them out for me. I know you're not doing anything over there.
That's what I'm here for, right?
Appreciate you.
Once I get all my curves and lines figured out, I'll trim everything up, transfer it over into the program, cut Ryan's pieces out, clean them up, take them over to him.
Alright, so after I get my pieces cleaned off, get all the slag chipped off of these, I'll take the template and mark the lines where I need a bend. I'll use that other little template that I made. I'll take it over to the big break and I'll just slowly bend it until I get the right radius that I want. Everything we do is trial and error. I'd like to get it on the first time, but I don't always work out that way. Cut that out with the plasma cutter. And tack it in. Alright, so we got the plates welded into the frame, stiffen it up. Also gave us a mounting point for our 2-link tabs. The tabs basically will weld to the frame, and this is going to be your mounting point. This is your pivot point here. So this is where it's going to connect to the rear end. We'll start here and move our way to these other cars are built just so rigid. It's a really rough ride. This would be like night and day difference. It would be riding on a cloud versus riding in a wagon barrel down a gravel road, so I think what we're doing here is a little better.
Dang, man.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, man.
This thing is rough, dude.
The diesel in this dump truck came to us in rough shape. There was a lot of creative fixes and even garden hose under the hood. John, the owner, wants to keep this engine and make it reliable, so I asked the Wells family to come on in and get this thing running right.
He wasn't lying, was he?
No, I can see why they call it the dump truck.
This thing is terrible, man. Got some electrical tape there.
On a fuel hose? That's a hazard just waiting to happen.
Yeah, we've got our work cut out for us, man. First thing first, let's get this big honking piece of trash off here. Let's clean that up with a newer updated intake.
Help it breathe a little more?
Yeah, get a little more power out of it. We need to change out all the radiator hoses, get all this stuff cleaned up. Watch out. It'll give it a little more appeal under the hood.
That insulation is not going to work. We're going to have to rip that out. We'll probably have to do something about the heat, so we'll heat wrap this sound pipe. What we have here is exhaust wrap that's a firewall, getting your feet nice and hot. It also helps clean up your engine bay and make it look a lot nicer. All right, now we got all the ugliness out of it. It's time to start cleaning her up and moving forward. What we have here is a K&N air filter. They are really good about airflow. They allow air to get in and keep the most dirt and grime out of the engine. She's a lot better than she was.
That's right, bro. Let's get the hose on there. Last thing we gotta get taken care of, the safety hazard of this wiring.
Yeah, I hate for something bad to happen there.
These wires, when they're bunched together, can cause a break in the circuit and them to short out. The short, it can create a spark, and right here by the fuel system, it's a terrible thing to happen. So I'm gonna trim this off, Put us a butt connector in here, a heat shrink one, so we can keep this sealed off from the element. Move the wiring and take the slack out in other places so it's a smoother transition from here to main harness. And then get it all nice and zip tied out of the way so it doesn't look like trash. Well, that's it, man. I think we got it all.
We ended up having to do a few extra things to it, but I think it was well worth it. Now it's not going to catch on fire.
It looks 10 times better, a lot safer. It's ready to go, man.
School bus yellow isn't gonna cut it on the dump truck. It needs a big color change to give it that militaristic, overall mean look.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. I got the color for the old dump truck. A metallic gun barrel gray is really gonna be the way to go on this. Not just that, but I think I want to go with the two-tone.
Two-tone?
Black bed, black running boards, and the very, very roof I want all black also.
Damn, it's gonna look enojado.
What's that?
Real mean. Real mean.
That's it, right, buddy. Do it to it.
Got it.
You know, I want something on this truck that's really gonna stand the test of time. I don't want Army green. I don't want the Desert Storm tan. The gunmetal gray is definitely going to make this thing look really cool, give it an aggressive look, and still be custom. John the client said he wanted this international dump truck to be unique. We're definitely heading in that direction. Now it's time for the custom flatbed.
Next project is getting this thing on the truck, which is not going to be an easy task because it's got such a long bed in the back we can't pick it up from the rails.
You got to spend extra time to do every little step. You know, just picking the bed up is just one more example of how much work goes into something like this. I'm about to see if it'll work.
Man, the gunmetal gray, the black, it's just going to tie together perfectly. Ready? Yeah. We'll bolt it down from there. Go down.
This is a big ass bed. This thing's finally starting to look like something.
It definitely gave it the industrial look that he was looking for,
right? Definitely no more school bus now. This thing looks mean. Man, it's a good day. We'll get the rest of this thing tomorrow, mount this bed, start building the running boards on this thing. Good night. Truck's so tall, we're going to need some extra steps going in. So we're going to make some running boards / steps, and I'd like to make it one solid piece. The problem with that is the cab's 7 foot long, and our equipment's running boards out of 2 pieces. It just takes extra time to get everything 100%, and this truck flexes a lot, so over time it wouldn't line up as if it would if it was one piece. I'm gonna go see my old buddy Ernest at Diamond Sheet Metal. He always helps us out. I've known Ernest since I was a kid. He's one of the Northside experts I can always count on. What we got going on? Man, I'm working on Old International. Thing's way off the ground. It's a huge truck. Way off the ground, all right. So I need some running boards / steps integrated in it. Okay. I need 2 pieces, 7 foot out of 14 gauge.
We can break it up to 12 foot. 10 foot, whatever you need.
Well, I only need 7. I know you got the big brakes, the big shears. So whenever I can't do it, I come see you.
We can handle it.
Well, thank you, man.
All right.
Give me a call, man, when you got it.
I'll do it, man. Take care. When Bill shows up in my shop, I know it's something I got to hurry up and do, so I usually stop, produce whatever he wants. Back in the 70s, that's how long I've been knowing Bill. He used to lower bikes, stuff like that, and I knew he had a great future in it because if he can do it with a bicycle, he can do it with a car. We're making all these marks, they got to be right on the money. These are where the brakes are going to be. If you don't mark them off right, we got to start all over. You got to mark here with a circle, it's going to be bent up. No circle, it's going to be bent on the other side, bent down. If you don't bend these things right, all the money and material is wasted.
undercarriage of this old school Buick is structurally different from most of the vehicles we work on. They just don't make them like this anymore.
You know, there's not a whole bunch to the rear of these cars. It's real thin sheet metal and a lot of wood, so we don't have a lot to work off of, and I don't want to just weld straight to the frame rail because they're like 10 gauge. It's real thin. So I'm making a foundation basically to be able to, you know, build my rear suspension off of. What this is going to do is act as part of my frame. We'll get some bag brackets on there, some shocks, diagonal link, and we'll have a brand new suspension on the rear of this car. That's it. Let's do some shocks. Let's do some shocks in here. With the way that I'm putting the shock and where it's going to be placed, I just want to bag is never going to hit it. Even though we do a bunch of air suspension here, every application is different for the most part. You know, the concept is the same, but actual building it and getting into it and making it functional and making it work and the geometry and staying the same, it's all different. That's what keeps this job, you know, interesting and makes it fun to come to work every day because it's not that repetitive, same old, every single day. But it's done back here and now we get to move on to the front. We got the lower control arm bolted up and the spindle bolted up. As you can see where the frame comes and where my lower control arm is, there's no room for a bag, there's no room for anything. So just like everything else, we're gonna have to make it work. Decompress with no air in the bag is gonna be 3 inches, right? I'll take this 3-inch block, describe a line all the way across. Judging by the looks of this right here, my tie rod's gonna be somewhere in this area here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just cut what we need with the plasma, make a plate to fill it. For the most part, I got everything cut out. Right now, I'm gonna get some 4-inch flat blocks to make my fill piece here. Nice fit. Everything is going to be built off of this plate right here for our upper bag bracket. So this is critical in making sure that this is fit up properly and welded in properly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to trim it back, get a nice fit up, get it tacked in, then we'll weld it off. And whenever you're welding, you want to get a nice weld, a nice fuse. You want to go from metal to metal. You don't ever want it to overlap completely and then just weld the outside. It's not going to get anything in there. It's not fusing anything. What I'm looking for on this is just trying to match the same radius here. Just I want that same roll all the way through so it looks like nothing was ever touched. It looks like it came like that. So just start on the flat spots first. I like to knock it down and make sure it's flat and then start rolling. So once I get it kind of close, I'll come back with the flat disc and then clean it up to get rid of most of these lines. Hit it with a DA or a wire wheel. I mean, that's pretty much it. I've been liking it. Looks real nice. We got work to do, man.
Ryan's putting together the last little bits of the front suspension on the old school Buick.
So this is exactly where it's going to be right here. Now everything's in place. I can just tie it to the top of the frame, get that tucked in there, throw a shock mount on here, and drop our motor in here pretty soon.
Yes, sir. Man, I get it. I totally know what you're talking about. You know what we can do? We can just pause on it, let you think about that. Once you think about it, let me know. We'll get back on it. All right.
Just the person I'm looking for.
Man, I just got off the phone with Javier, you know, with the Buick. He's not real sure of what engine he wants to put in it, so he wants to put that thing on pause for a minute. The customer needs some time to make the right decisions on the right engine, so we're going to give that to him. I get it, man. He wants to think about exactly what he wants. We don't want to give him nothing that he's not 100% sure about. The extra time always takes a toll on the bottom line, but that's what we're doing to make it right. Trust me, this thing will be perfect when it's finished. Cut a piece 32/3.
Tail chop it on top of the panel board.
Was a working dump truck, so the interior left a lot to be desired.
Just tape it to it.
You definitely can't have that, so John's gonna make it right.
We're building a big, badass dump truck, so we gotta get something that's gonna be utilitarian and follow along in design and keep up with the beating around this truck's gonna get. So we're gonna make some really cool door panels. The idea that we have here is we're gonna make a metal kick plate. That way it's good and rugged for climbing in and out. You kick it with your boots, whatever, it's good to go. You know, this is kind of the fun part to me, the creative part. You know, you get in here, you get to lay this out, really actually bring your idea into fruition. You know, with this truck, it's big, it's boxy, it's a beast coming down the road. So you open the door, you want to kind of have that same idea. It just needs to say, I'm ready to work. Next thing I'm gonna do, start cutting this apart, and we'll transfer it onto the base panels, and we'll get it foamed up. Here to my foam. Time to get busy. Like I hadn't been busy already. Alright, now I'm just gonna trace this out. When you're cutting this foam down, if you put any kind of lean in it, then it will show up in the end, or it's tougher to have to sand out. So just kind of work keeping that blade straight up and down. We're actually gonna put a beveled edge around this, and that way when it comes up, it'll dip down into the insert panel, up both sides. So just cool little detail. Get all that thing beveled back, and once that's done, we put another layer over it. I'm going to wrap the doors in marine vinyl while Jamie's cutting out the steel for the kick plates.
This is going to look really good on the door panels that John's doing. I went ahead and cut this out of 18 gauge steel, just sheared it. Now I'm going to cut it to the right size, go ahead and prep the material, and I'll bring it back to it. All right, looks good. I'm happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and bring John, go ahead and do a test fit real quick and go from there.
See how she fits. Cool, man. Perfect fit.
Cool. Well, then we go knock out the mother 3.
Can't wait to get over to the body shop and let them get this thing painted, get this door panel together. It'll look pretty cool.
It's going to look nice.
Man, Ernest did really, really good. I mean, all the angles look exactly perfect, exactly what I wanted. So next step is just get this up here and start shaping it. Hey, pretty soon we'll have a running board.
Put your hand out there.
So about 5 inches. And we made it a little bit too long so we could shrink it down, cut a little here, a little there, make this thing fit perfect. From the front fender well all the way to the bed.
Man. That's a big difference. That's nice. It's going to make it real easy to get right on up in here.
Next step is just shaping it perfect to the fender itself.
Pretty cool little trick right there.
Used to have a sign company across the street. Showed me that. Of course, we just could have squared the ends off and put it on. You know, taking the time to shape it, to make it fit the truck.
It's like the front just right here needs to come in a little bit.
As if it would have came from the factory like that. That's what I want it to look like in the end. You know, no matter what we're working on, a little extra time, a little extra cut, a little extra weld makes a huge statement in the overall project. Can't wait to see this thing black up against that gray. It's really going to finish the whole thing off.
My name L1 actually means little one, and I got that name around the age of 14 doing electrical, body shop, and paint. I always wanted to keep on learning, keep on going to the next thing. Start from the bottom, work your way to the top. You gotta know how to do every single part of the job. The first thing I learned how to do was actually sweep up a shop. If you don't know how to sweep up a shop, then you shouldn't be doing much of anything else. I'm not done learning yet. This is me with 10 years experience. I want to see myself with 20 years experience, 30 years experience. You always want to get something right and then keep on learning, but you got to learn the right way with the right people. If you're not open-minded to learn from others, then you're not going to get very far in this business. I like working at Extensive. The talent here is so diverse, and it's just crazy the amount of knowledge that you can gain. If something breaks, you make it. If you can't find it, you make it. If you can't do it, you make it and you do it. And that's why we keep building the best things that come out.
What was an ugly international dump truck has become something else entirely. Installing the seats, doors, running board, 6-inch tall tires. There won't be another custom truck quite like this on the road.
Hey, Bill, what's up?
Hello.
Hi, and good to see you as always.
Same.
What up, Johnny? I've known John Wood for quite some time. I love this guy, but I love messing with him too.
You got some news for me?
Well, I wanted you to come out and check this thing out. I got a couple questions on it.
That usually means there's problems, so how much more money do I owe you?
Right. I called him in, told him we had a couple issues with this truck. You already know how rough that thing is.
It shouldn't have any rust. It was covered with tar.
You know, I can tell right now he's super worried. He thinks it's going to cost him a lot. You ready to go check it out?
Yeah, let's go see what we got going. It always bothers me when you say you have a problem and you want me to... Oh, that's not a problem. That's done. You lied to me. You're lying to my face. Holy, that's beautiful. And it's not yellow.
Of course, there was a couple problems, but now it definitely runs and
that
drives.
Thing is bad, eh?
It's ready to roll, John.
It's really, really neat.
What do you think about the bumper on this thing? Split it, added 8 inches, made this thing way bigger with the big winch on it.
Added a winch. He even added a winch. I didn't ask for it. We're going to get it stuck sooner or later, and we're going to need the thing. I knew it was big when I saw it at the office, but in here, this thing's huge.
It was already big, but it's way, way, way bigger now.
The color choice was good.
Right? Getting rid of the school bus yellow was most definitely an essential part of the build. Changing it to gunmetal gray and making it a two-tone, it was definitely the right way to go.
Well, that's very different.
Right? You had creative fixes all throughout. This thing was a fire hazard for sure. My one-way diesel guys came in, they just fixed everything and addressed all the issues.
I knew it was bad. I had no idea it was actually a fire hazard. I'm glad they fixed it all up because, you know, I have employees that are going to drive it and it has to be safe. Wow.
What do you think about this thing?
I love it. This is great.
Right? This is way better before. Those old steps on this thing, you can see all the frame. Couldn't have that. New running boards on this thing and integrated the steps in it.
Vertically challenged, dude. I have to wait to get up there. You refinished it all. New seats, carpet, door panels. Wow. Wow. I bet it doesn't even stink in
new smell in there. Just had to rip all that out. Had the seats redone, got new carpet in it, and there was no door panels in this thing.
Right.
So John and Daniel hooked you up with that. You know, we could have just wrapped this thing, changed the color. But,
this is way better than a wrap.
You know, this is going to represent your company and mine, so we got to do this thing right, man.
Absolutely. Now on to the good stuff.
Right? What do you think about that?
It looks correct.
No more dump truck, right?
No more dump truck for sure.
Cut the back of the frame off, scooted the axle forward. All the suspension was all handmade underneath this thing. It's got a huge 4-link on this with big triple bellow bags, so you can haul whatever you put on the back of this thing can haul it.
Wow.
And ride.
And ride
super smooth. And the bed was built specifically for this truck. You see the big wheel well opening. Yeah. So what do you think, man? Is this going to work for you?
Absolutely. I'm afraid to scratch it now. The bed scale matches the truck scale with the giant wheels and tires. It's a functional truck, and we're going to work this truck. You can tell the people that do this, they're craftspeople.
That's right. We all have passion for what we do, for sure. You know, this is just one more example just to show how good a guy in the shop just kicked ass time and time and time again. I know this thing is going to do everything you could ever want with it and even way, way more.
Thank you.
This is going to be built like a tank.
We heard on the street they was up to something. We had to come check it out. This is going to be crazy, man. I can't wait to see this, man.
Customizing a delivery van definitely has some challenges, but this is actually going to change Dave's life.
They told me it can't be done.
You're in the right spot.
Beautiful.
Ryan, bring it on in.
Oh my God, dude.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
When I first seen her, I thought it would have been better off if I just would have turned that thing away. But, you know, that's not what Extensive is about. We like the challenge. We like, you know, when somebody comes in and says you can't do that, that's more reason to do it. You know, I don't know if it's where I'm from or what, but there's something inside me that just doesn't like to be told, that's too hard. This is too much work. Thinking too big. You know, when I hear stuff like that, that's just when it's time to get to work. Going through and putting this car together, that's when you really start to get the ideas of making this thing different from all the other Cadillacs around. You know, if you're only going to do the easy jobs, there's never a challenge. What's the point? We're in the dream-making business. So that's what we're about to do on Earl's right now.
Pretty cool working on this Cadillac, man. I've been around Cadillacs pretty much my whole life, you know. Mostly in my scene, in the lowrider scene.
Man, a Cadillac's one of them cars that's always going to stand the test of time. It's got the name. It's made for the king.
You know, a famous car for a famous NFL player, Earl Campbell, you know.
Y'all talking about the Cadillac?
Oh, yes.
Man, you remember when this thing came in? I was getting a little nervous when it started rolling in and rolling in and rolling in and rolling in, right? You know, parts on a wrecker, trailer, in the car for Earl Campbell. You can't not get him hooked up, right?
Mm-hmm. Now we just need to finish it.
You know, we've already got the new frame underneath this thing. The body's all mounted to the frame with the custom air suspension. The rust is all repaired. This thing's really starting to look like something now. I'm getting excited. Time to put that new engine in, a brand new LSX for this thing. So he's got plenty of power.
Can't believe we're putting LSX in it. Mm-hmm. That's going to be awesome.
You know, in the engine compartment too, I want to redo the firewall. Give him a nice bead rolled firewall, something that looks totally different, right? And not only new firewall, I want new sheet metal, nice fender wells that roll down and kind of mold to the firewall. And when Earl sees this thing, I really want him to go, man, this is cool. John, I know you worked on a lot of Cadillacs, buddy. You got room for one more, huh?
One more.
All right. I'm going to go get this engine. Let's get going. All right.
I never drove a Cadillac with air suspension, but I drove a Cadillac with hydraulics. It's beautiful. I'd love to take this thing out for a ride.
You know, Earl Campbell's a Hall of Famer, but before that, he was just a kid from Texas. He used his God-given talents to do things that nobody special as he is. Every piece of metal work we're going to do on this Caddy is going to have design details in places most folks will never even see.
We're going to take the time to make this engine bay look really good, just as good as the outside of the car. So what we're going to do is make a really nice tub and make it look like all one piece. That way it kind of fills in this engine bay, but not so much where you're going to hide the motor. We want the motor with as much visibility as possible. That's the heart of the car. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make this filler panel here, but I'm going to make it look cool. It's just not going to be no flat piece that's going to come down from the top to the bottom. I'm going to make it roll out and then roll back down and give it a little style, you know? Make it look cool, just like the car is. Now we got this nice pretty piece tacked in place. I can continue rolling this on another panel to come all the way down. Now the easiest way to hold this in place without tacking it is to use this little thing called a Kiko. This is similar to a removable rivet, I guess you would call it. I don't want to tack it in place yet because I might have to remove it when I mess with the firewall. So all those little Kikos hold that in place, and these flat bars make it flush with the other pieces of the firewall. We can get these out of the way since they're just Kikoed in. Cool thing about working on such a large car and this big engine bay, it's gonna be a lot of fun to fill this space with something cool and custom.
I'm not sure if you've seen old footage of Earl Campbell running with a football, but man, he was fast, powerful, and just mean. He didn't run from a hit, he just dished them out. So we want an engine that runs just as powerful as old Earl did back in the day. Well, almost as much.
What's up, Brian? Hey, Bill, how you doing? Man, good. All right. You here to pick up that new engine?
You know it.
And this is that one for that 49 Caddy, right?
Man, you know we need a lot of power in that thing. Big, heavy Cadillac like that.
The one who towed Earl Campbell around in?
Yep.
Well, here comes your engine right here.
Man, let's check this thing out. Man, this is exactly what we need for old Earl. Small package and a big punch. What's the horsepower on this?
627 and 586 foot-pounds of torque.
Man.
Well, I know you're going to be happy with it, and I hope Earl Campbell will be happy with.
Start building around it. This LSX is just a power plant to have, much like the old 454s that were in all the hot rods back in the day. The LSX is much lighter, a lot smaller, and more efficient than the original, but with a ton of power. This engine is definitely the one to put in a build like this.
Engine's in before lunch.
Looks pretty dang good.
Just one spoiled Cadillac, huh?
Right? You know, most of the time the engine compartments are so crammed you don't really get to see everything in it. Man, this thing is could have V12 in this thing. You know, on the firewall too, man. We have so much room, we don't even have to notch it for the transmission tunnel. And I love this design you have here. And how about we incorporate this into the firewall itself so it come down and have that little that 3D look too. You know, John and I are old school fabricators. So with the metal work on this car, we're definitely not using a computer. We take what's in our heads and make it with our hands. Man, I know this is becoming one of your favorites. Got to.
Yeah, sure is, Colin.
Me too. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that gives us room for ideas.
We kind of got an idea of what we want to do on this firewall to make it match these inner fenders. Thinking of it is cool, but doing it is a whole different ballgame. So it's going to take me a little time to figure out all these angles. Got to do it right the first time. If not, we got to start all over from the beginning. So measure it, calculate before I start bending. It's a lot of bends. This is the radius that we got on the inner fender. This is the piece that's going to go across the bottom of the firewall. And I just want to try to get them to match. We want to keep that same radius throughout the whole engine bay. Kind of hard because there's like a million things going on in here at once. Playing a little game of small cuts, cutting a little bit at a time till it fits in place right. Because if you cut too much, then you got a big hole you got to fill. And it'll fit right in there just the way we want. Now that the lower road part of the firewall is in, I'm trying to make the top part of the firewall. I'm going to trace the shape of the cowl onto the panel. Cut it out, slap it back on there, and then we're going to design what we're going to bead roll on here. We'll be able to get rolling.
Man,
think about that.
I love it. I love that rolled edge, how it goes around. That really helps out. How about something with a V pattern here in the Corsa board? So that just makes sense to carry that on through. The letter V has been a design element on Caddies as long as I can remember. So on Earl Campbell's 49 Cadillac, we're putting subtle V touches everywhere, including the firewall. I think it'll play in all together with the whole design of the engine compartment. I think something like that. You know, of course, I want to lay it out a little better, a little more square, but...
Oh, you want it straight?
Yeah.
I removed the panel from the firewall, and all I'm doing is straightening out all the lines that we rough sketched in here, make everything even all the way around. I'm gonna draw me out some straight lines that I'm gonna follow with the rolls on the bead roller. Little tip, take your time, roll it slow so you can follow your line straight. You roll it too fast and you get a little wiggly, you'll see it in your roll. So you gotta have some patience. If not, we gotta start all over. I think that looks pretty damn good. and we're ready to tack this thing in place. An original Cadillac symbol, meaning V8, fits the car really well, especially having this nice LSX 454 in the engine compartment. Make it feel at home.
Not every build that comes through here is going to be for someone as famous as Earl. No matter what the build, we always put in the same passion and talent. Because to that person, their build, big or small, is the most important thing in the world to them. You know, when a white Sprinter van pulls up to the shop, you automatically think you're getting a package. But in this case, it's going to be a very important build. You know, we're super busy right now. But when Dave and his family called me out of the blue, I told them to come on over, I'll take a look. How you doing?
Doing good. What's up? Doing good.
What's happening?
Thank you, Mr. Bill.
What y'all got going on today?
Well, last September, I bought me a 2017 Mercedes Sprinter, and it is very, very difficult for me to get in. I come from a motocross background, started when I was 4 years old, and at the age of 31, I was out at Three Palms, and came up short. Actually didn't come up short, I just went over the bars, and that was the end of that.
So that's what put you in the chair?
That's what put me in the chair. The end goal is from a seat.
And what you need is it down on the ground so you can get in and drive this thing.
Absolutely. So the way the van sits right now and as high as it is, it's too difficult for my family to be putting me in and out. And so it's, it's time. It's been 16 years. And it's time for me to drive myself. I've searched around quite a bit, took it to several different shops, was asking about putting it on bags, and they told me it can't be done. They just said they don't do it. When I asked to drop it, and here I am.
We were told no so many times, and Dave Jr. said, "Hey, Dad, I heard about this guy. I think he can do it."
You're in the right spot.
I hear you. Like to hear.
I have friends that race. I love off-roading too. You know, of course, when you hear a story like this, you just want to get in and help. You know, anything we can do to make his life better, we're definitely going to do it. I see these Mercedes Sprinter vans everywhere because even though it doesn't look super cool, this 2017 has a super efficient diesel and it has tons of space to put whatever you want in it. Now, let's check this thing out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely see the height here. You'd have to have a 20-foot ramp to get up in this thing easily.
Yeah.
You need this thing down the ground so you can have a ramp go up in it.
A ramp would be nice. A ramp would be really nice.
When you're in it, you need that chair out of the way so you can pull up into it.
What I would like is for the front seat to swivel. You know, I don't want to drive from a power chair. Plus, I don't like it. It seems like it's just super dangerous to me.
We definitely got you on that.
That sounds great.
So you have a motocross history. You like cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We got to get rid of this delivery van look, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty much like a cargo van.
So what do you think about wrapping this thing, putting some cool wheels and tires on it, dropping it? This thing is going to look cool.
I just want to be part of the family, bud.
That's it.
Hey, if you can put one truck that high up in the air, I got faith that you can put one on the ground.
Oh, we're going to do it.
Dude, you're going to make me pass out, man. I have full confidence that these guys have it, and, I mean, I'm just ready. I'm just excited. I can't wait.
All right, man, let's go make it happen.
Let's do it.
Customize a lot of vehicles at the shop, but you know, a Sprinter van is definitely lower on the list of sought after vehicles. You know, customize some challenges. We got a work cut out for us for that, of not only serving a purpose to help Dave in his life to make it easier, but he wants something cool also. We do builds all the time at Extensive. We get them in, out every day. You know, this project right here is a little more special. I mean, this is actually going to change Dave's life.
Why do you have a delivery van?
No, man, we're not fixing a delivery van. Customer's name's Dave. You know, he had a motocross accident, so he's in the wheelchair. So what we're going to try to do is give him that freedom, independence back to do what he needs to do. But it all also, it needs to look cool too.
Yeah, we can take care of that. That's our business.
That's it, man. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put some air suspension on this thing to drop this thing down to the ground. So we're gonna pull out the leaf springs in the rear, clean all the axle off and build the 2 links for the rear. Get it super low.
No doubt.
Same with the front. Put in all the new compressors, tanks, the whole 9.
So we're trying to give him something else back that's a lot of fun that he can do on his own and have a good time.
Exactly. Not only to the van. So we're going to install a wheelchair ramp that shoots out the side of this thing. Dave can ride right in himself, do his thing. Once we figure out the ramp situation, the next thing we're going to tackle the custom driver's seat. So he can put himself in the chair, spin himself right around, go on about his day, and have that independence back.
Super convenient. So you going to stick with the smuggler look, the all white, or are we doing something cooler?
No delivery van. No, we're going to definitely, it's got the motocross background. He needs to have that cool feeling of riding around also. So we're going to start out wrapping this thing, and then we're going to finish it off with some really cool wheels.
Awesome. It's a little bit out of the ordinary, but it's going to be pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Well, I'm ready to get started on this thing. Let's get it on the 2 posts. Knock this thing out, man.
Sound good, man. Lowering this van to the ground is going to look awesome. So we're going to change up the rear suspension on this van. We're going to change it over to a 2-link. So I'm going to take these leaf springs out, the shocks. But I'm going to start stripping this stuff off and get to business. All right, now I got all that taken apart. It's time to get these leaf springs out. We're going to need as much space as, now that I have everything out of my way, I'm going to take this little 1/2 inch out, and that's a 1/2 inch lower that we're going to be.
This van has a steel unibody, which means the frame is built into the body. Luckily, we have just enough room to fit the air suspension, so we don't have to cut notches, which is cool. It saves us a lot of work.
We got the big springs out of the way. That's going to let this thing sit way low to the ground. We're not going to cut the floor, not going to do a C-notch, so we're just going to set the axle right on the unibody itself. So it's going to be super low and have perfect angle for that ramp.
Is that a 22 going on here? 24.
He said 22.
It's really getting a 24, bro. Oh, man, freaking huge.
It's not every day we get to work on a 2017 Sprinter, but also it's not every day we get to change someone's life. Putting this van on air suspension is going to get Dave that much closer to driving.
Since the sheet metal on these rear tubs is so thin, it's not as solid as we like. So we're going to add some structure into this thing. We're going to brace the frame, brace the bottom of the floor, and we're also going to put a little plate here. We can through bolt it. Everything's working with each other here. Nothing's working against each other. It's like with as much weight as it's going to be carrying and the load and the sway and everything, it needs to be structurally sound. I got the perfect time.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Thank you, buddy.
There you go. You can go ahead and clean them up.
It's hot. Watch out. What I'm doing is trying to get this 90-degree angle right on the money. And then the next one, you just hammer down on the pedal. That doesn't work for you. Perfect. Back to the van. So right on the money. That's exactly what we wanted. Now we can punch some holes in this. Connect the dots, and now we're one step closer to having the rear suspension built. Now that we got our plates made, you can see everything kind of coming together. And we can through bolt it to the inside of the cab, put a backing plate on the other side, and you get a little bit more structure out of it that way. Over the years, we've been known for, making kits for just about any application, any car, any truck, anything like that. But when we have builds like this or just one-off builds, we typically build, we could easily go pull something off the shelf and throw it on here and just make it work. But later on down the line, you might run into a problem. So I like to just literally make every part and piece for every single vehicle that I build. That way I know 100% that it's perfect for what we're building it for. Beautiful. Love it. And that's lunch.
started.
Now that John's finished fabricating the engine bay on Earl's 49 Cadillac, he's gonna move into the cab.
So what we're gonna do is continue to firewall back over the transmission. So I'm making a trans tunnel. I'm gonna make a template of how I want this end of it shaped. I never took art class, but instead of doing schoolwork, I was drawing in all my notebooks. Now we can get the end of that tunnel shape and make it flow into the floorboards. Pretty close. Now we got a whole lot of cutting to do. When you're hand building something, you're building it in place and, oh, that'll work. You know, everything's made to fit. First piece in, I got about 2 more to go. I know Earl's not gonna mind what his trans tunnel looks like while he's driving this car down the road, but this thing is gonna be built like a tank, and I'm sure he'll love it as much as I do.
Our next step of getting the floor sheet metal put in is locking the rear end up. You know, this thing's got 600 plus horsepower, almost just as much torque. So we need a rear end that's really going to stand up to all that. So we got a fabricated 9-inch. Then we can build our drive shaft tunnel around the mocked up drive shaft. And then we'll start building the floor around that.
Now it's time to cut our center section out of our floor. Let's see if we can do a straight line. Now we can put our drive shaft tunnel in. Now we got the tunnel in. Pinion angle was set. What I'm gonna do is bottom out that axle so we can put our new inner tubs in.
I love adding style in a place you least expect it. You know, that's what a full build is. John's finishing up the metalwork with as many design elements as possible in the rear of the 49 Caddy.
You know, when taking apart these old cars, sometimes you gotta use your head, not only to do it right, but to hold the parts. What I did here is I got me a piece of pipe that'll fit in this axle hub, and I cut me out a piece of flat bar about the height of the tire. What I'm gonna do is use this, make me a perfect circle of where I need to cut to put our new tub in here. With this all opened up, move on to the other side and get that cut out. Since we had our rear end bottomed out, we know what our very top needs to be. Now we need to figure out how wide it needs to be front and back. And now we could do that same thing we just did at that height, and we will get a perfect arc at an 18-inch radius. This is all coming together real nicely. We got our fenders put back on, got them all welded out. Now we can cap the inner tubs and get our notch cover built. A custom car. You know, this could have been a flat panel, and what would we have done? You know, undercoated the car or something, bed-lined it. But now that we have this nice little design, it could be painted glossy and it'll look good. You know, it's just a little added touch to doing something that's worthwhile. One challenge we got is the notch has 2 crossbars from frame row to frame row that bow like this. So what I'm gonna do is make a template to that contour and get that template transferred onto a piece of sheet metal. I'm gonna draw me some designs and bead roll it to match what we got on the firewall. See how it looks. Would you look at that? Man, it looks real good.
For Dave, these airbags are going to lower this van, and it's totally going to help out for this ramp we're going to install. He'll be able to drive for the first time in 16 years. It's a total game changer. Wrapping it up, huh?
Yeah, you came in at the perfect time.
Always come at the perfect time. It looks real good. Thank you. All the suspension's done, huh? Line's done, electrical's done.
Yeah, dude, I got everything mounted, tucked up in here really nice and together, not all over the place. Usually we jinx ourselves saying, it's going to happen.
We're going to have one easy ever one. once in a while, right?
They can't all be difficult all the time, huh?
No, they can. Well, cool. Let's get the wheels on and get this thing on the ground, man. Let's see what it looks like. Cool. And then we'll start working on the inside.
Yeah, buddy. All right.
All right, Ryan. Let's drop this thing down. No more delivery van, right?
Nah. It's right,
it looks
there
cool
on the
too.
mud flaps, man.
Right?
It's sick. Until we get them wheels on there, it's gonna look good, man.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get this thing aired up. Let's get it on a drive-on lift so we can start building the ramp on this thing.
Sounds good, man.
The ramp needs to be installed flush with the floor. So Ryan's got to make an opening for it.
Alright, so I used the framing square just to find out where my door was. We know here is our door. We're not going any further past this point. Here's the center of the actual opening of the door and everything we got. So we have this much room to work with. Our deck is 41 and an eighth. So within our parameters, we have a lot of room to work with, which is really good. Just triple check your measurements, because we're about to cut the entire floor of this thing out. All right, now that I have all my lines done, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this whole section out where our ramp is gonna go. All right, so you can see from the inside here where our lines are, where they're coming down. We're already planning on reboxing this whole entire frame since it's a unibody, and we're gonna plate the side of it and then cap the top off once we're done and have everything bolted in where we need it. So just to get this whole center out of the way, cut this whole top section out, and then we have a wide open area we can work with, full measurements, and do what we gotta do. It's loose? Yeah, it's loose. It's not heavy. Got it. Yeah, I got it. I'm done. So now I got this big hole in the middle of this floor. I want to get the ramp in here, and I want to see exactly what we're looking like. Hey, be careful on the floor right there. See if you can hop down into the floor, onto the ground. This ramp isn't meant for this van. It's meant for like a tour bus. So what we're doing is trying to make this work for what we got, This is what we do. We're fabricators. If we can see it, we can make it happen. So what we're doing is, making it happen. And that's the job. That's what we do. I'm gonna make a channel that will go over the frame rail to cap our frame rail where we cut it in half and stitch all the way down the frame rail and work our way. We're gonna have to brace all this up, make a mount for this thing to actually sit on, and put some structure back into this van. Now we got the main structure tacked into place. We got our frame rails boxed in, and we got the actual track that our ramp is bolted to. So really all that's left to do now is weld this up, patch some holes up, and we'll be ready to wire it up and test this thing out.
We're going to make as many parts as we can for Earl's 49 Caddy right here in the shop. However, there's a few parts we need. So when it came to the radiator, we had to have one specifically built for this job. In the shape of a V, of course.
Front of the car is exactly what this thing needed. Get all this cut out and just continue to make the little V shape here.
Hell yeah, we'll build a support around the radiator.
Man, I've never seen a V radiator before.
Yeah, me neither. That is nice. The bottom part of the core support, which comes out all the way to the front bumper, we're gonna make that all one piece, and it gets welded to the fenders. This is gonna be one complete unit now with everything welded together. We're ready to get our radiator mocked up. We got these side pieces tacked in, which is gonna isolate where you can only view the radiator. Got that nice radiator in there. The edges need to look good too. We're gonna start forming this top part of here, so it's all one piece and structurally strong, and it looks damn cool. Make us a really nice fitment right there. Now what I'm gonna do is get that excess off. Now I got these pieces fitted in here pretty nice. Then we're gonna run us a couple bead rolls on these panels. Kind of liven it up a little bit so it's not just so flat. Looks pretty good. So what I did here was I started off with maximum pressure here. And once I got to this line I drawn, which is 10 inches away from the edge, I started slowly fade out look instead of just a hard stop. Man, them lines match up perfectly. Little flavor to the front end here. Man, now we got this whole front end pretty much done. Got the groove fit in here perfect. This thing is looking really, really good.
Today's a milestone in the 49 Cadillac. After about 3 months of metalwork, it's finally rolling over to the body shop.
From where it started to where it is now is a huge difference. And it's a good feeling seeing it come from the fab shop. Finally going to the body shop, they can start the body and paint.
We got the ramp working on Dave's 2017 Sprinter van, but I definitely can't let it leave the shop in the delivery van white. So John and Jose wrapped the back of the van glossy black to make it look like it has a rear window, and they're wrapping the rest in a brushed black.
So the next step now is putting the razor wire on. As you can see, there's a tiny wire inside this tape. This allows me to get straight cuts whenever I put another overlapping vinyl on top. And once I'm to never put a blade on it, I won't be able to scratch it or damage my gloss black window.
A lot of people come to us to go get color changes. They're bored of their existing paint job and they want something new. Or certain models like Ferraris or Lamborghinis, they only come a certain color selection. Well, some clients, they want to be unique, so they do whatever it takes. They come to us, we get it done, and they're happy. And when they get tired of it, we remove it. The resale value doesn't get affected. The original paint is protected underneath, brand new.
Now with the wire all pulled out, all we gotta do is pull out the green tape. As you can see the straight, perfect line it leaves behind. Perfect.
Well, let's go ahead and start getting these side panels put in.
Always love giving a vehicle back to its owner. But this 2017 Sprinter van is just a little something extra because Dave's just going to be that much closer to driving. So we're installing a swivel seat for easier access, new 24-inch wheels, and some red accents to match those wheels.
I haven't sat in the driver's seat in 16 years, man. And the day's here, so I'm pumped.
You know, a lot of people have their own style, their own customization, but here, you know, the customization just keeps evolving. There's not blueprints, there's not schematics to do what we do. Everything we customize here is specifically to that build. Two of the same cars could come in here, but when they both leave, they'll be totally different and totally cool. You know, that's why I like coming to work. That's why I love doing what I do, just to get tested. I get bored any other way. I gotta have the challenge. I gotta have the creativity, you know, to get in and create something with my hands, to make something just cool. You know, bolting on the same parts day after day, you know, that's cool, but that's not the definition of custom to me. You know, building it all back up with as many parts as you can by hand, that's the definition of custom. How you doing? I mean, it's always because we're giving this 2017 Sprinter van back to Dave, and I can't wait to see his reaction. Man, I know it's been a while. I know you've been waiting patiently.
When you're in this position, bro, that's the first thing you learn. Patience.
Are you ready to check this thing out? I know you guys are ready. Yeah. Ryan, bring it on in.
Oh my God, dude. Oh man, this is beautiful, dude. You gotta be kidding me, man. Fine looking. You gotta be kidding me.
That's what I was waiting to see. That's
You gotta
cool.
be kidding me, man.
What you think, man?
Bro. That is something else. Whoa, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, dude.
Oh, man. It doesn't look like that delivery van anymore, does it?
Oh, no, sir. That's why I brought it to you, Bill. There is nothing you can't do. It's overwhelming, dude. Seriously, man.
Because at first it could not be done.
Oh, man. We did it.
You did it. You absolutely did it.
You guys ready to check this thing out?
I'm ready to open that thing up and let me check that ramp out because I know we got a ramp inside the thing, dude. Oh, my God.
Check it out.
Oh, my God.
Man, buddy, that ain't just something you just bolt on either. We had to cut the whole floor of the van out, restructure everything, and then make everything mount back. So you have two sets of controls. One will control the airbags, front, up and down, back up and down, and the center button right there operates the ramp.
Check it
Oh, check it out,
Check it out, dude.
That's it, man. You think you can work with that?
Absolutely, dude. My power chair is going to have no problem going up in there. I'm just really stoked.
It was a first for us also, and hope you like it, man. It's pretty sick.
You know, once you're up in there, we have installed a swivel seat on the factory seat there, so and added some handles on there, so you can spin that thing around from the back and get up in it and do what you need to do, man. Going about whatever you want to do, all on your own.
Dude, I'm speechless, man. Speechless.
You know, of course, we had to add some cool wheels and tires too. This had to be made specifically for this van. If we're going to have some made, we got to have some cool ones made too, right?
Oh, yes.
You know, after all that was done, we couldn't have the delivery van look. We had to have this thing wrapped. You know, John and Jose over at Pixel Works came in with a brushed black.
Beautiful.
And man, that just really sets it off.
I mean, I can't believe the job you've got. I'm surprised your name isn't Copperfield, man, because it's magic, bro. It's magic.
I like to speak for all the guys at the shop. This is something special for us also. You know, not only a chance to do suspension on something that we don't normally do, a challenge of making the delivery van look cool, but to give you that independence back to really help you out in that aspect of your life. I mean, it's cool to be able to do for us also.
And that's what it's all about, is independence, buddy. I'm stoked, man. Ready to get in this thing and go down the road. You guys don't get it, man. For someone like me, to be behind the driver's seat again, or behind the steering wheel, it's overwhelming. I haven't been behind a wheel in 16 years, bro. 16 years, man. Oh, man, dude.
Man, you look good in there.
I feel good in here. I don't even know what to say, man, but thanks.
Man, I appreciate that.
Tim, what up with it, man?
What you doing out rolling around?
I'm good, man. You know, I'm just cruising.
How's the car treating you?
Man, I'm loving it, man. You already know I'm loving it, man. Hey, look, all that small talk. Real reason why we here. We heard y'all was over here trying to do the Mac. That's the truth. Y'all trying to shut the Mac down.
Man, I knew Raymond didn't show up to say hi. What's up, Tim?
We heard on the street they was up to something. We had a few words on the street that they've been working on something special over there. We had to come check it out.
We had to come and check it out. I know Bill was up to something. They was too quiet, Ron.
I knew it too, man. Real deal, Bill. Hey, what's going on around here, Bill?
What up, man?
Man, what are you working on over here, man?
What you up to, Bill?
That's it.
Look at him. That's a Fowley's Cadillac.
That's it. 49.
This is going to be crazy, man. I can't wait to see this, man.
You already know who it's for, huh?
Yeah. Okay, well, man. You know, we heard word on the street, so we had to pull up and see what was going on. Let me hit the club in this one.
So was this bad as Slim?
You know, this wasn't even a complete car when we got it.
Man.
It was just a body, a frame, crates of parts just crammed in.
Oh, you was going to rebuild it anyway, man. So it don't matter. You just
that's what you do. This is Earl's first custom car, so I really want him to just be impressed. You know, all around the bottom of this thing, all the sheet metal's all been gone through and straight. Built a new chassis from bumper to bumper on the front.
That's going to be mean, man. What kind of energy you got up in there?
An LSX.
Wow. What is he going to do with all that power?
Man, man, whatever he wants, right?
Earl Campbell's like stuff big, you know, you're running back. He's running over people, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
All over the city in that, man. That's crazy.
I sure don't like that, though.
Man.
Hey, man, you put the V in there for the Cadillac?
Oh,
You see that, Slim?
I see
I sneak that V on. You see what they did?
One of the coolest things about this car is when you pop the hood, John fabricated all the panels inside the firewall.
He thought we didn't see that.
Okay.
You gotta watch it. You know what I'm talking about? I seen that V right there. They wasn't gonna even tell her. I like Earl a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't like Bill that might be trying to take us out.
You know they gonna show him extra love because who he is,
I
man.
sure don't like that, man.
That's cold, boy.
That's all right.
What color you going, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Black on black.
Black on black. Yes,
You had to have it.
2 black legs back to back on the freeway.
That's gonna be nice.
That's gonna be nice, man. You know Earl gonna let you drive it.
Yeah, I sure hope he
You good. I can't wait.
That'll ease the pain a little bit.
You know, the next step's the interior on this thing, and we really got some custom touches for him.
Oh, yeah?
It's really something special.
You hear that, Slim?
I can't wait
They're
to
not
see
telling
it.
that part. You
They
see?
got secrets. Well, let me know if you don't like it. I might go back.
Yeah, we for sure set the bar on Slim's Cadillac. But stay tuned, because we got some stuff planned for Earl's that are gonna go way beyond that.
We're gonna keep our ear to the street on y'all
Yeah,
to see what's
crazy high. It's gonna command attention.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this.
Wait till you see all the speakers that's gonna go in that bed. This thing is gonna be loud. It's always cool to work on your own project. There's no limitations. It's on you. Come on out with it. This is gonna be the king around here. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. You know, back in 2011, we took a Suburban, cut that thing in half, and made it a 2-door Tahoe. You know, back when this was built, this was a shocker for the world. 8 years later, you can still take this thing to just a prime example of something I wanted myself to have a business card for Extensive and really set its mark in the custom world. You know, every year I try to top myself to really build something really cool over the top, and we're definitely not done doing that.
Ooh. Pulling out of retirement?
Uh-huh. Got a guy won this thing, so we're gonna meet him at a local little car show up in Tyler, where I'm gonna hand over the keys, man.
Wait, like it's leaving?
It's
Like,
leaving.
oh, man.
It's still gonna continue to go to car shows. It'll just be kind of like a foster home for it.
Okay, cool.
Time to move on, right?
Yeah.
It's time for something new. You know, it's time for this to go. We're gonna load it up, take it to a local car show. This turbine's gonna start its new life with its new owner. I hate selling this thing, but it's gonna fund the new over-the-top project. We're out at Turkey Drag Car Show. You know, it's always good to get out of the shop, come see what's going on, see some cool cars. Today's kind of bittersweet, though. Part of the family's leaving, but, you know, it's always nice to get that little check also. Man,
All right.
you made it?
Yes, sir.
What do you think, finally getting to see this thing in person?
I've been looking for this truck for 8 years.
Yeah?
It's amazing. This truck is super cool, man. Something like nobody else has. That's exactly what I want. One day, a friend of mine, he called me. He says, hey, they got it for sale. So I made the call. We pulled the trigger, and we're here.
What's your favorite thing about this?
I like the way you did it. When we shorten it, make it 2-door. That's the only one on the earth. I gotta have it, bro.
It's really cool. Antonio's been following this car, you know, for 8.5 years, and he's finally seeing it in person.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about, man.
You know, it's a factory 5.3 in this thing, but it's just all cleaned up. It doesn't look like that factory engine anymore, right?
No, it don't look like it no more, man. You can see from every angle, you can see everything, something different.
If you like this, you're definitely going to like the interior.
That thing is crazy, man. You got speakers everywhere, man.
3 big 12s in the back. You see the big hole in the roof. That's out of a Cadillac SRX. You can't buy one that big. Cut that out of another roof and then graft it into this one.
I think it's my right size, man. Yeah.
You know, when Antonio's sat in this seat, I can tell he's been wanting to do that for a long time.
Man, look at that. Man,
it's got a ton of power back here, right?
Man, I would like to
put home and somebody that really appreciates this. Enjoy it, man. Need something, holler. Looking at this thing for the last time, we've done a good job on it. I can't thank all my guys enough for all the late nights and hard work, because as you can see in the car show here, it's still holding its weight. You know, I've gone to shows East Coast to West Coast, almost every state. You see a bunch of lower trucks, lifted trucks, people trying to creep up on us. You know, we can't be having that. That just makes me want to build just something over the top, just lifted super high. If you're going to build a lifted truck, you want something totally different that nobody's seen before. This is the truck to get. I've got a 2020 Chevrolet medium duty that is just going to be insane. The medium duty trucks are in between a 1-ton and an 18-wheeler, so just putting it way up in the air is definitely something you don't see ever. It's gonna command attention no matter where it goes. This is gonna be the king around here. Is the truck brand new? Yes. Are we gonna pull it in the shop and tear it totally apart and start over? Absolutely. Tire company's gotta love you.
What is this, test drive or what?
Well, yeah, test drove it. It's my new project. Oh, Lord. You always got to have the bigger, fatter, right? Just the natural progression. Taking a medium duty, putting our spin on it, our style to it, it's just going to put us over the top again. I'm scared to see what you're going to come up with next after this one's that high. But I got you a bay open. Let's go ahead and pull it in there and we'll get it racked up. So you got me a spot? Got you a spot. Let's do it. You know, always before starting a project like this, you always get a little anxious. Just, you can't really wait to get started working on this. I mean, it's still, you know, a passion for all of us. It's the anticipation of getting the thing done, getting it out of the road, and just having a good time with it. It doesn't get any better than that. Most of the time you start to create the canvas and then add to that also. So the finished product is just going to be something that's going to blow everybody away. You know, I love being able to prove myself, to prove my team to everybody. Building a lifted truck, that's fun for me. But building a super huge dually truck that's going to end up being, you know, over 12,000 pounds when we're done, super high off the ground, that's just something I got to have in my life. What you think about this, James?
Man, that's brand new. I ain't seen one of these yet.
Right? Man, I got some big plans for this. You know, first things first, we're going to get this thing up on the lift, and then we're just going to build a crazy drop-down air suspension with the big shocks. You know, huge 4-link on this thing with the big 1-inch Heims, super thick DOM. I mean, this thing's going to be bulletproof. And you know I got to have some big wheels and tires on this thing. Definitely. I want to keep that dually in the back, too. Raising this thing up, we're not shooting for a specific amount of inches. I want this thing way off the ground. We're just going to lift this thing till it looks right. When it looks right, we'll go a little bit higher. Because this thing's going to be crazy high. You know, look at the steps on this. This definitely isn't going to cut it. So we're going to build some custom run, crawl up in this big old thing. And as far as the bed, you know, I want to do like a utility style bed with the toolboxes and all that.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this with the air suspension.
Yeah, you don't ever see anything like that.
I've never seen nothing like that.
Wait till you see all the speakers and all the stereo that's going to go in that bed.
Oh, man.
You know we got to have it loud. You know it's got to be loud. They go by, you're like, man, why? I want that feel of industrialism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This front end's a little bit too shiny for you.
Man, we got to get rid of all that. You know, spray it all black, get rid of the chrome, make this thing cool. We're going to have to step it up in the interior, too.
Yeah.
You know, leather inside, suede headliner. And this thing doesn't even come with carpet. Of course, we're going to put that in it, too. We're going to make the inside just plush as can be.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
If you can't wait, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
This thing is almost 6 tons stock. Because this thing is so big, we're going to take a few extra precautions. And Jamie's going to weld some extensions directly to the lift so we can pick this thing up safely.
Oh, that's nice. This truck was barely stocked for maybe a couple days, and it's already up on the lift. All right, so go ahead and separate the axles from the leaf springs. Go ahead and lift up the frame, then go ahead and pull the leaf springs.
We're going to be taking this thing to car shows all over, but it's not just about the trophy. This thing is going to be able to get to work too. So Rudy's going to start burning the hangers and brackets with all 5/16 plate.
Being that this is typically just used for work and never lifted, we had to build some extra heavy-duty hangers to support the whole weight of this work truck. If these things aren't strong enough, then our whole four-link system will just collapse and be worthless.
The next step we're doing this huge lift, huge super heavy lift, is building the 4-link brackets on the rear end. Rudy cut some 5/16 plate. This allows the 4-link to mount from the truck to the rear end and everything pivot. I mean, this was where all the stopping, starting, pulling power is all transferred into these pivot points here. Especially as high as this thing's going to be, all the weight is compounded. So this thing has to be really, really strong. This is a major point of the whole suspension. When you're lifting a big Silverado 5500 over a foot in the air, you know, the 4-link has to be not only super strong and support all the weight that's going to be way up in the air. You know, it's got to look cool too. You know, one of the things that makes this thing super strong is the 1-inch FK Heims are really, really strong. So we're going to use that in conjunction to some really thick DOM, and that's going to make it so we never have to worry about that whatsoever.
Alright, got my Heims bolted up, all exactly the same, so we're gonna go ahead and bolt this up to the truck and continue with our 4-link. Now we got our 4-link bolted up. These things look beefy. So we can go ahead and start setting up our diagonal link. A diagonal link in a wishbone is always gonna keep your rear end completely centered through all of its range of travel. This sucker right here is gonna make sure that the whole rear end is nice and straight as it travels up and down. I only wish I could say the same thing about my back right now.
This thing comes with power steering, but to save a little space, we're going to convert everything into all hydraulic steering.
So this big steering gearbox is going to have to go. We're going to get rid of this one and install a new hydraulic steering system. All right, so you can see our old gearbox is a whole lot bigger than our new one. In this case, looks can be deceiving. This small little guy here is going to do just as much as our big one here. This right here is basically our servo. All it does is transfer all the hydraulic fluid down to our hydraulic pump, which is going to be placed on the axle somewhere. Went ahead and made a brand new mount for our hood strut. That way we don't lose the support for our hood. All right, we got our servo bolted up, linked up to our steering shaft. Everything looks good. And then the fun part, figuring out where that goes.
What we're doing now is mounting the hydraulic cylinder to the axle. We got a rolled piece of pipe that we had laying around the shop, so we're going to make 3 separate pipes to hold the hydraulic cylinder for the steering to mount it right to the axle. I mean, we could use a straight piece of pipe, but it'd look way cooler to have a little style to it and use the rolled pipe and be super strong also. The cylinder where we want, we got the roll tubing connecting the axle to the mount. It looks good. It's super strong and stylish for sure.
Alright, now that we got our hydraulic cylinder mounted and welded up, we're gonna go ahead and make 2 rods, one for each side, to connect from the cylinder to our spindle. That way when our cylinder starts pushing those rods out left and right, our truck will go left or right. So just to make sure that our new tie rod ends are exactly the same, we're gonna go ahead and jig up the first one I just welded up. That way my second one will bolt up just exactly like the first one. We got our first new tie rod made. Go ahead and duplicate it and make another one. Tie rods are in, as you can see. As our cylinder pushes in and out, it's gonna steer our truck left and right.
We're going to start building the air suspension, and straight pipe is never a good idea. We want something with a little style. So Max is about to get out and get to it of rolling a lot of pipe and tubing for my truck to build the bag mounts, shock mounts, and just make it look cool. We're going to do things a little different this time. Instead of putting the lower bag mounts in place and then building down to the axle, I think what we'll do is take the lower bag mount off, build it on the table.
I won't have to keep crawling under here and throwing my back out every time I get in here.
Right. I got that. We can just simulate the axle with a piece of pipe on the table and build our pipe all to that. So we're gonna make all of our pieces fit in a little square here.
You got it?
I know you do.
Thing here is just trying to make everything look symmetrical. It's kind of different not doing it on the truck, but for simulated axle, everything's gonna fit right on there like if it was on the truck. It's gonna save my back and my knees and lots of time. Alright, we got all these welded up. Now we go slap these on the truck.
Heck yeah, Rudy. That's gonna work good. Let's get the other side on, and then we'll put our straight edge across here and clamp it. And that, instead of trying to spend the time to level everything, you know it's 100% perfect. Weld that sucker out, and then we'll move to the uppers.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
That is what we like to call a wrap. Some big old shocks. These shocks are going to be able to hold up all the hard work this truck's going to go through.
We got both sides punched. Got our shock mount in the right spot. I'm just going to drill it. Drill that side. Everything's going to be 100% true. So the truck goes perfectly level when you're going down the road.
I don't know if you noticed it. There's a sign over there. Do not drill or weld frame.
What do you think, Rudy? This big old shock looks perfect proportion to this big old truck, right?
Doesn't even look that big when it's on the truck.
Right? That's it, man. This is the last little bit of the suspension. This thing's ready to get blown apart and get coated.
Shoot, well, let's do it.
You know, it's always good to be in this part of the process, you know, having all the fabrication done, all the figuring out is done. You know, all the mental anguish is over. Every part of the process from now on is just improvements. You know, it's about to be the payoff for all the hard work. For the Chevy Silverado 5500. This thing is cool, but this is just a starting platform for what I'm thinking. You know, it's always cool to be able to work on your own project. There's no limitations. There's nobody telling you, you know, what to do, what they want. There's no restrictions whatsoever. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can dream of, it's on you.
Yeah, but this much more. Come forward.
That's what the shop's all about, is building cool cars, and especially one that stands out from all the rest of the builds, all the rest of the cars around. You want to make something that just has your personality built in with it.
Man, I love this point of the build. Just start to see all the big pieces come together. You know, it makes for a really good day, especially something like this. To see a service bed like this with a truck like this is going to be real cool, especially when it's real high up in the air. Getting excited. You know, the more I look at this thing together, the wheels are turning, getting a few more ideas to really top this thing off. Definitely got to get rid of this.
He just can't leave well enough alone, can he?
Man, this is the point. This isn't well enough. I just love this truck, how everything's looking, but, you know, the trailer lights in this thing just kill it. So what I did, man, I had this little plate lasered out for the triple stack of the ABS LEDs. So I'll just cut this thing out, weld this right in. No more trailer lights. Man, I love the style of this bed. You know, I love the work truck feel of this truck, but it's got to have something all the other ones. So the way the new bumper is going to look with the lines on the running board and they carry on to the lines around the bed, the triple stack lights are just really going to go with the whole overall feel of this truck.
Looks like you're adding some TVs to the back of your truck.
I would have 10 years ago. They have it all over the place. You know, Tim's grinding down the light panel we made. He's getting a little bit of bevel all the way around it. So when we weld the light panel into the bed, I'll bevel this a little also. You know, we'll grind this thing down nice and flush. You know, no powder coat left on it, so you want it metal to metal. Nice weld, nice grind, and very little body filler. And this thing's going to look super smooth.
These lights are going to go in from the back side. This is the bucket that holds the LEDs. So to make a stud on here to hold these buckets, I'm going to drill it all the way through. Then I'll take a bolt and cut the head off. And this side, where the hole is, we'll tack it. Once we do that, it'll hold the bucket tight, hold it against here, it'll be bright, and it'll be better for the weather.
Let's do this, Timmy. You know, the key to doing this type of metal work is making it totally flush. So a little trick is rubbing your fingernail back and forth. That way you know for sure that one isn't sticking up higher than the other. Just ensures for a nice, even, smooth weld and grind. We got our lifted suspension back from powder coat, and I'm really happy we went with gold.
I don't know, it came out pretty good.
It looks good. It looks like something you go buy at the store, right?
Yeah.
So let's start getting all the suspension components bolted up underneath there, you know, the hangers, the bag mounts and everything, and then we'll put the axles in so we're not working around all that. Hold on. Where are you at?
I need to come over, right here.
Okay, look. Let it touch the frame a minute. I ain't enough.
Gotta open more.
That's 33 3/4. This is 34 1/4 now. Got a long way to go. So what we're doing is overspreading this so we can install it and not scratch our frame up. Like welding process, the heat makes everything distort a little bit, move and wander around. So we're overspreading it, putting up in place so we can put the bolts in. It's going to cinch it all up super tight. We're good to go. See, just little tricks like that make all the difference in the world.
Nice and tight, looking right.
When I try to pull this up with straps from the truck itself,
and try to cause as minimum damage as we can.
You know, when you're building these things, people think this is decorative, but really it's not. Each pipe displaces the weight on the bag mount. If you had 1, it'd try to teeter-totter, 2 would rock the other way, 4 makes it solid. So the more you can get, just the better, the beefier it's gonna hold up. And this being a 1.5 ton, you're gonna need all the bag mount, all the support you can get. Now you can see this just completes the whole big, massive, heavy look of the truck we're going for. Just in your face, massive.
Small speaker there. Another small speaker there.
Lifting a brand new Silverado 5500 is definitely going to turn heads. But I also want to make this thing really loud. So John's going to customize the headache rack with a pair of handmade speaker pods, just like you'd see on a wakeboard boat.
We're going to use these speakers as a chipboard and arrange it up here and see how it looks the best. And once it looks good, we'll make it out of metal. I think we'll put a couple bends in it. Give it some character. We'll cut this faceplate out, and then we're gonna end up connecting this to the headache rack with a bunch of little pieces to give it that wakeboard style setup. We'll get this template off of here, go trace it on some metal, and cut it out. Doing custom work like this is always fun. I'm so used to doing, you know, suspension work and metal work, but when it comes to doing metal work outside the box, it's always fun to do something different. Now I got the outside shape cut out. What I'm gonna do is mark 1.25 inches all the way around, and I'm gonna cut that out, and it's gonna leave me 1.25 inches flange to go mount up on the headache rack. And I did a radius here where the speaker's gonna be at. Change it up a little bit. Now all these straight lines were easy because I just, you know, run a torch along a straight edge. It's all about finding a right spot to hold this torch and just pivot it around. Keep it steady. Stumble a little bit, the torch is gonna move, and I'm gonna mess this piece up. I'm gonna start all over. That's how you get it done. I'm gonna draw me some lines where I know to set this up in the metal brake and give it a little break here and there to give it that crazy shape that we're looking for. Now we got a little personality to this. The only thing I gotta do is do the exact same thing to the other piece. We're gonna get to cutting. We're gonna remove all of this out of there. We don't need it. It's gonna give us a much cleaner look without it. I'm free. No more locked doors. Now it's time to clean this up. Take some of this paint off so we can tack our new pieces on. That way we can get these cool tower speakers built on this headache rack. We got everything grinded and sanded down nice and clean. Now we can see what we gotta work with. What I'm gonna do now is tack me a couple pieces from here to the headache rack, and then we're gonna start building our plates off of that. Now I got the frames all on there. Now it's time to fit the speakers inside the frame to see how they fit all in there. This and this is looking really cool. Imagine this going down the road, music blaring.
The new wheels are 28 by 8.25, and our new tires are 42 by 1550s. You know, they're way too big for our tire machine. So Tim's gonna take them somewhere that'll handle the job.
Should be 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely got our work cut out for us, man.
It's on there. Phase 1.
We're gonna let this beautiful machine here and that robo arm kind of push down on these sidewalls so we can get underneath there and make sure that thing fits for you.
Usually the shop, if we have something big like this, we gotta grab some big pro bars and do it on the ground. Like butter. Let's see if we can get some air in this bad boy and get it rolling.
So because we work on everyday cars, this actually has a regulator on there to keep my guy safe. Because this is a 1550 on a 28 8.25 wheel, we're gonna hook up a direct line and just straight on air.
There it goes.
That's good. Perfect. Done.
Woo. Man, I was just joking about 10 or 15 minutes, but y'all made that look super easy.
You got it,
good.
What's up, man?
That's looking good, man.
Yeah, once that grill's in there, man, it's gonna look really, really good.
We definitely want to take our time to make it right. Get the angles right. You want to look at it wherever you're at it. You want it to look cool.
Coolness from every angle.
Right. Finishing the sides in, boxing it in is going to be pretty critical on something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I got the chipboard, got the tape. Start making it.
Hell yeah.
The puzzle has begun.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you just never know where this is gonna take you, right? It's a work bed, but you still want it to look cool. You want it different, right? You don't want it to be like the same one going down the street.
Yeah. If I was to see this thing going down the road, I'd be like, man, I want one of those.
Right. So it's a great start right here. You're creating the coolness factor as we go. So you want to really get back. Once you get a couple steps in, we'll get back and really see how that's flowing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about custom, right? Is making it your own, making it cool, making somebody go, man, that's cool. Yeah. That's what we do this for. It's got a little flatness right here. Let's get a back piece on here. See if we can change it up a little bit. Yeah, man, that looks good. Yeah.
Bill got a good start on laying this out for me, so I know exactly what he wants. Now I could go and take his template, trace this on some metal, get to cutting and breaking it. I'm gonna start breaking on here, and then I'm gonna break this line, and I'll do the two ends last. And by doing this, we'll get one nice clean piece with a few breaks in it instead of a bunch of welding going on, which will tend to cause warping. Now we got the outside cap. I'm gonna start building this inside piece for the bottom. I'm getting all my measurements off of what we already built here and transferring them over to this piece of sheet metal that's gonna fit these contours here. I'm gonna take it over to the brake, bend it. And it's just so much better trying to do this as one piece of metal than having so much work on the body guys. They could give me a pat on the back when I'm done. I'm gonna tack this up here, front and back, and then trim up all the excess. Now we got the bottom panel in, we can continue over the top, connect the two. Because the issue I'm having is the speaker mount is higher than the rest. And I'll go back and mold this in with some more material and make it look like it's supposed to be like that. And it is supposed to be like that. Shh, don't tell nobody. Get that all molded up and make it look good. This is one of those things that had to be done for clearance issues, but at the same time of just notching it out, we could also make it look cool.
Man, John, this thing looks so good. That's something you definitely don't see every day, right?
Right, definitely.
This thing is going to be loud. Having built a few lifted trucks in our day, you got to think about how you're going to climb up in it. So we made some brand new running boards for our Chevy 5500. We got the truck over on the 4-post lift. It's way easier to work on this thing, perfect height, just the height you're working at, and no post in the way. What we did is take off the factory steps, and they're going to replace it with a piece of sheet metal that we had in our spot for our toolboxes. Cleans it up a lot, huh? Hides all that, and gives it a little style too.
Way better. Now it looks complete.
Let's give it a quick little rough cut. Anytime you're doing something like this where you get one shot at it. It's a little bit of work taking this thing on and off, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but it's a lot more work to go back and have to recreate something you already cut off too much of. Looks like a factory part. I guess the next step is cutting the holes out, and we'll get these boxes in. Man, I kind of like it right there. Little cut lines. That looks way better, huh? No more flatness, gives us some depth, and it's useful.
do some measurements here.
You know, the speaker pods are done, but we're not finished with the audio. I want to fill some of the built-in boxes in the bed with speakers and amps. And John's over in the interior shop making some amp racks right now.
We got 9 amplifiers total going in this thing. This thing's gonna be a monster. Get the Brad. When we have the other set of amplifiers stacked over here, we'll be able to just travel up and down through here with our wires and get this thing drawn out and make a pretty cool looking little amp rack. And we'll get all those cut out. We'll have amplifier here. Bam, bam, bam. Next thing I'm gonna do, cut out some 1/4-inch strips, get them stapled on. We'll go over the router, flush trim all this out. So next step I got is take my template that I made, transfer it over onto the aluminum so I can go rough cut it out. By far the worst part of working with aluminum is having to rough cut it because you have to do it by hand. All you can do is just get after it and cut it and settle in for a long journey because it's not easy. Alright, we just take our double-sided stick tape here, lay it up, get it stuck to this aluminum. Basically what we've got here is some dish soap. I like to use this stuff here for a lubricant for cutting aluminum. If you mess up cutting it, there's no fixing it. You just throw it away and start all over, and that's never fun for anybody. I've watched guys lose their jobs over scrapping parts. Not something I want to do. Alright, pull these apart. Alright, clean this off. Go over to Jesse, get him to...
Bill can't leave well enough alone. He'd have to go get 2 speakers out of the shop. So I brought him a box. He said, no, 2 boxes. So he's gonna pull more speakers to the front. So the back's gonna be loud, and now the front's gonna be loud.
My brand new Silverado medium duty is almost done. We're gonna add a winch and a place for even more speakers.
Man, this is exactly what this thing has to have. Some kind of forward projection. So the 6.5-inch Wake Tower speakers are just perfect.
Really hope people like Bill's music. You're going to be listening to exactly what he's listening to.
After all the work we did to the bed, it's time to get it over to body and paint so we can color match everything all black.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in.
Now the only thing left is putting all the pieces together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah.
We're installing the amp rack, running boards, and speaker grills. Huge billet dually wheels, and then it's ready for its world premiere. You know, it's great working with great craftsmen, and it's even cooler to work with. Strive to do better, and do better, and do better.
I never had an older brother, so I've always looked at Bill as that older brother you look up to that always had the cooler stuff. Way older brother.
Me and Tim have this kind of sibling rivalry for sure. We're always pushing each other, you know, when we're building things for ourselves. He's working on his own car. You go by, you're like, oh man, what is, let this get by, Tim? I don't let him get by with stuff he would, you know, try to do on his truck, and him the same with me.
We have a competition with each other, but we want the best for his, best for mine. End of the day, we're still putting extensive on both of them. So he and I do push each other to go to the max because it's us against everybody, not just him against me. You know, we're trying to set the bar on the whole car industry. Thanks, older bro.
Every year we have an open house at the shop. We got friends, family, old customers, and hopefully some new ones. And I can't wait to show them what we've been up to. It's always cool to, you know, have parties like this, have an open house, and just, you know, see what comes through the door. And for sure, stuff like this is exactly what, you know, gets me excited. You know, you never know what's going to come through the gate, but you got to go see what's going on. How old is he?
4 months.
4 months? Man, he's cool. Man, this thing's crazy. You know, there's a certain kind of person that loves lifted trucks. And for them, a brand new Chevy 5500 medium duty, 14 inches in the air, is going to blow them away.
Hey, you guys, come on over. I'm going to show you guys something. Come on. Come on, Marie. Come on over.
For real, thank you guys for coming out, you know, and always supporting, you know, myself, my team, Extensive. It says a lot to me. You know, you guys coming out. I know it's pre-food and pre-beer, but thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bill.
All you guys together, you
You know, I want you guys to check out the latest extensive build and tell me what you think. All right, Timmy, come on out with it. Example of just teamwork makes the dream work. Brand new medium duty Silverado. When I got this thing, it was just a cabin chassis, just basic work truck, no frills whatsoever. So first thing we did is got it in the shop, put it on the lift, and got it at the height that looked good. Push the button again, a little higher. Push the button again, a little. All right, cool. Get the axles down in the right spot and just build everything from the truck down to the ground. Starting out with the big, huge 4-link underneath this thing, big bags. This thing gets 14 inches of lift from all the way down to all the way up, totally adjustable. You know, if you're gonna have a big 4x4 truck like this, you gotta have some unique, cool wheels on this thing. 28-inch dually wheels with big 42-inch tall tires. You know, I wanted to go something totally different and do a utility bed. You know, nobody does a bed like this on a truck like this.
Typical Bill fashion, when we got the bed, couldn't leave well enough alone. You think you can bolt the bed on this thing? Yeah, I never worked with Bill Carlton. He had to change up the whole bed, tail lights, side, added some speakers on the top.
Well, if you're gonna have a stereo, you gotta have a stereo. I wanted like a wakeboard style stereo in the headache rack. Somebody behind me, they ain't gonna be able to hear either. And we put 10 Rockford Tower speakers all throughout the bottom of this thing. So not only that, it's gonna hit just as good. There's a ton of stereo just inside also. You know, we utilize every compartment in this thing just to be loud. From the speakers behind the grill to the winch, this thing's ready to party and get to work. Now you gotta be able to get in this big old truck, right? So had to make some steps, had to build some running boards and incorporated, you know, toolboxes in this thing just to break up some of the smoothness that's in between there. You know, tie everything together and give it a little style. I really appreciate all you guys coming out and checking this thing out. Another example, teamwork right here. And this is what happens. Everybody comes together and makes some cool stuff. You guys walk around this thing, check it out. Let me know how we did.
Truck is unreal. I'd love to build something like this one day. When they did the speakers up here, that's amazing, man. I mean, you don't see that type of work made out of metal.
Big 42 tires on them 28s. They're right pretty good looking.
Man, I love this Bill, man. Bill showed out again, man. I'm definitely going to pull up to the shop and take this one out on the weekend and pull up to the club. And
reaction of these guys, we did what we were supposed to do. You know, when you're building a custom truck, every part and piece plays upon the whole bed. There's so much customization on this thing. It'd take you 2 hours to see everything that's going on from bumper to bumper. This thing's going to bring a lot of business to the...
Lifted off by Sierra Bright suspension.
That's the name of the game around here. Now we can really start letting the creativity and the fabrication all come together. Did a lot of work on this 2006 Kodiak already.
What else does he want now?
He wants to put an extra wheel and tire in the back.
One in the wheel, there's going to be a problem.
So the structure's going to be there. The flow, it's going to look like it was made like this.
Oh my God, Bill.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. You know, we just got a pretty cool 71 Suburban out in the lot. You know, I owned one of these things for a short period of time, and, you know, I miss it. You know, I'm definitely attracted to this car. Good looking truck.
What's
What's up, buddy? What's up, man?
You know, it's endless possibilities what you can do this old Suburban. You know, I've seen them way high, seen them way low. You know, so whatever the owner Ronald wants to do this thing, I know it's going to be cool.
Is that truck you're telling me about from Maryland?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Man, it looks 4x4. Is it true 4x4?
Yeah, it is.
Man, it's cool. What are we doing to it, though?
Man, I don't know. And I got to get on a Zoom call and see what he's got going on.
He just bought it and set up shipping it, huh?
It's here for a reason. About to go find out.
Let me know what he says.
Ronald, how you doing?
Doing good, Bill, man. Excited.
Just got that Suburban in, man. That thing it's nice.
It's cool, but it needs to be a little bit cooler.
Oh, definitely.
It needs a touch. I mean, you've seen it. It needs some loving.
So, it's here. What are we doing?
I see it lifted up. I see air ride suspension, new tires. I see it pulling a nice airstream down the road and looking just incredible.
Heck yeah.
It's four-wheel drive, so I'm not the kind of guy, I don't like going low, but, you know, I do want it to go up a little bit, and I want the stance to be cool.
So you're maybe something worth aired up from there?
Maybe a little higher than where it's at right now. Does that sound like it'll work?
Absolutely.
I just want it to blow people's minds when it's riding down the road.
That's the name of the game around here.
Whatever you can do, get that thing right. It's going to be a camping vehicle. I'm going to ride it. This thing ain't going to sit in the garage the rest of its life. It's going to be out there riding around.
I love hearing this. You know, not only get to build a cool truck with cool suspension, it's also going to be on the road and actually being used on a daily basis. What I see on this thing is just taking out the old suspension and just putting brand new 4-links front and rear on this thing, lifting this thing up and just riding with air suspension incorporated. You just want something that when you're driving down the road with that travel trailer behind you, people beside you can just see the moving parts of the suspension.
I want them to be able to see it.
Yes. Yep. New wheels and tires on this thing, you know, some nice shocks, you know, big brakes. That's going to be a good-looking cruising truck, especially with your trailer behind it.
Maybe even put a little music in it, too. I want to, you know, it doesn't have to be crazy loud where, you know, they're waking up the trailer park. I want a little bit of sound coming out of that Suburban, so.
You got it, man. We're going to take care of this thing for you.
I want this thing to be beautiful. It might be a second trip, you know, after you get this done. I don't know.
Absolutely. You know, phase 1, no problem at all. We can get this thing on the lift, get it tore apart, and get that new suspension built. At any point, you can bring it back, you know, and then we'll start phase 2 to take it to that next level.
Sounds good.
You know, we love working with our customers, no matter, you know, if it's a one lump sum build or if it's spread out over many different trips. You know, if it goes and comes and goes and comes and goes and comes a few times, it doesn't make any difference to us. We'll be there all the way of building their dream truck.
I'm ready. I mean, I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, so.
You know, I'm really excited on this thing. This thing's going to be really, really cool, and I can't wait to get going.
You think you're excited?
Man, we'll talk to you real soon.
All right, sounds good, Bill.
All right, bye. You know, these 6th generation Suburbans are really popular and really sought after. It's unique. It's something you don't see every day. You know, this truck's going to be built in phases. No problem. Who knows how many phases this thing's going to go through, but, you know, the first phase is always the most critical. That's when you really get the creativity started. You build upon that creativity, and it leads to a bigger, better product. You know, once you put the shoes on, you're like, man, I need some new pants. And then you put the new pants on, you're like, gotta have a new shirt. You know, you gotta make the whole outfit complete. You know, that's what we're gonna do right here is just customize this thing step by step, piece by piece, till this thing looks 100% and 100% custom. What's happening? Man, it just so happens I'm looking at it right this minute. Ronald was clear from the beginning. There's going to be many times he's going to add to the build. You know, I just thought it would be after we finish the first phase. I mean, we got plenty of room in the back of this thing to do whatever we want to do. So the interior is something we could really focus on a lot to really make it comfortable, you know, for you guys for sure. And to be something to show off. All right, man. Thanks a lot. We'll take care of it for you.
What's up, man? Finally got the Suburban in the shop?
Yeah, man.
Cool. Do a little audio in it. Get get this thing in and out?
Well, that was the plan. The little audio, that's not the plan now.
Plans changed.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with the owner, and, you know, I guess he slept on it a little bit. He got bit by the bug. He wanted a little upgrade. Well,
we've got a lot of real estate in here to upgrade.
Man, there is. There's a lot of room in here.
Well, sometimes it's easier to just do it all at one shot than having to go back and forth with it. It's like, it's there, just do it.
Right. First thing we're gonna do, new interior. Everything in this thing, we're gonna change. He wanted new audio, but now he wants new seats, headliner, door panels, and even more audio.
Sure we can make something like that work out.
I know we can. The next step, we're taking it over to the fab shop and cutting everything out from underneath this thing. It's gonna look way, way, way better. You know, we're giving it a nice lift with air suspension on it, big 4-link, 40-inch tires, new rims, big brakes. It's going to have an aggressive look coming down the road. We want this thing to look just mean.
Okay.
When he opens the doors, I want it to have that same aggressive look too.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Basically, take the same ideas that you have going on underneath it, keep those ideas flowing, and put something in here that just says, I'm here and get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I got my laundry list of work to do, so let's get to it. All right, I'm gonna start with getting the seats out. You know, the idea behind and use it and drive it, not just make a showpiece out of it. We still want to have something that's going to be functional. So keep those things in mind as we go, and we'll start making something cool. One of the things I enjoy about watching a guy get excited when we're building their truck, first when he gets here, they're a little setback, a little reserved, don't want to do too much, take their time, do it in stages. And once it gets here, they get thinking about it, they get all itchy. Next thing you know, here we go. Full builds every time. There's your original color. Seafoam green, I guess is what you would call it. As hard as they try when they do a color change in a car, it never fails. Somewhere you're going to find hints of the color. There it is. For now, I'm going to start with the subwoofer enclosure. That way I know I've got to have that space. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then we'll start making all the panels to make it look good. So what we'll do is we'll take this bottom piece first and just start drawing out around all the pieces until this fits back where we want it to. Then we'll start building it up.
Nice fit.
It's just like a big puzzle, one piece after the next. Make a piece, cut it, fit it, glue it. Just work it as you go, especially when you're trying to fit into these really tight spaces like this. It's kind of hard to map out and build on a table, so you're just back and forth building it. Right. So what we got to do next is take some body filler, use that as a sealant to make sure that the box is nice and airtight, and then we're going to go back over top of that with some fiberglass chop strand to give it the strength that it needs so we know it's going to stay together and stay sounding good. All right. Box is fitting great. The next step is going to be to build the recessed baffle that's actually going to hold the subwoofer. So what we want to do is we're going to recess them back inside this enclosure about 4 inches. So you won't even hardly see them. They're going to set so far back in here. So to do that, what I'm going to do is a little bit of stack fab. Basically take and just stack up a bunch of layers of MDF until I get it back to where I want it to be. We'll get it attached to this thing, and this box will be just about done. So what I did to get the angles and stuff on the baffle is they just kind of went off of the angle of the back door. The back wall has an angle to it. We got the same angle on the box, so we're just going to kind of follow that angle forward just so everything flows together. There's exactly what we're looking for.
There's a lot of real estate inside this 1971 Suburban, especially when bigger boxes in the back. He's going to move on to the door panels.
So what we're doing now is we're just making all the parts and the pieces for the door panel. Since we have 4 doors, all of them are going to be the same. So once we make one, just repeat it, duplicate it, mirror image it on the router. That way we can set them all up and work on them all at one time and get the process done a little bit faster. We got the bottom section where the speaker's going to go. What I want to do is I'm going to take this top line here, instead of it being just flat, I'm going to put a curve to it, and then I can round it over. It just takes the blockiness out of it and just gives it some character and some life instead of just being stuck on the door and flat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this scoop bit on the router to give the inside opening a profile and the outside edge a profile. Once that's done, then we can take it apart, put it on the machine, and reshape it and give it a whole completely different look. Sometimes in order to make the ideas and designs in my head, I have to make a one-of-one tool. So I went ahead and made my own jig, my own sled here that's going to create an arc in this piece that is going to give it some dimension and depth. It's a little bit extra work, a few extra steps to take, but that little extra touch really, really stands out, puts the craftsmanship into it, and really makes something that's one of a kind. All right, so you can see this one, it has shape to it and dimension in both in this direction and in this direction. The next thing to do, attach it to its base. This thing's ready to do some body work. I've done similar things to this once or twice before, but you know, every time you do it, it's always something different, which really is what makes it so much fun. That's what I enjoy about it. I like the creative part of it and the problem solving. You can kind of see the whole door panel starting to come together here, all the pieces. We'll have our speaker set down into this pocket here, and then we'll have our armrest up here.
You know, in the custom car game, no matter what the customer's original checklist is, there's always one more thing. Always. You know, sometimes we get a project in, you know, it just needs that last final touch to make it 100% complete. You know, we always want to accommodate, but that's one of the challenges of owning a custom shop, just making the customer happy. We did a lot of work on this 2006 Kodiak already, and we were about to ship it out. Then the owner called me up. He just wants to do that one more thing.
One last look before it goes home, or what?
Man, it'd be nice if it was going home, but, you know, in the world of custom, it's always that one more thing, right?
Huh. What now?
Yeah. You know, this Kodiak rolled in pretty good condition. We built custom air suspension, made a new front bumper, made new running boards, added a new grill, added headlight conversion, new wheels, tires, and painted the whole truck silver.
What else does he want now?
Well, he wants to put an extra wheel and tire in the back. You know, one that matches the ones that are on the truck, mounted back here in the bed.
Mounted down flat, up, or how you want to?
You know, I don't know yet. I'm going to get it in the shop and kind of play with it, see what looks good, what looks cool. So I'm thinking probably mounted 30 degrees or so, mounted up close to the tank. You know, something so if you're looking down on the bed, you can see it, but not something that sticks up over the top of the bed rails.
All right.
That's what he wants. That's what he's getting. We'll get with Max, see if you can get one. I don't even know if you can just get one, huh?
I hope. I'll get Max figured out.
Yeah, night. We've done a lot of Kodiaks over the years. The medium duty platform is just great to work with. You know, it's different from every other thing on the road, and that's what the customer wants when they bring these things in. It's just one of one, something that nobody's seen before. You know, we've done a lot of work to this big old Kodiak, a lot. But for a thing, we got to make it happen. You know, sometimes when a customer comes up with a last minute idea, you know, they haven't been around for the whole creative process. So incorporating their last minute idea into a project that's already been built, there's a few little challenges comes with that. You just don't want a little spare tire stuck in the back. It looks like a sore thumb just out of the blue. You want something that just all flows together and look like it was all thought about from the very get-go.
Yeah, man. Yep, I can have another 2 today. That's not a problem.
You know, Max has been a really great addition to Extensive. He's been running point on sales and parts. And he's got a real knack for finding things that are really hard to get. Like one custom dually wheel for the Kodiak.
Have a good day. All right. Hello, Timmy.
Just the person I need to see.
Uh-oh.
I need a favor.
Well, what kind of favor?
I need another wheel.
For
Kodiak.
You have 6 wheels.
I thought the truck was done. Bill walked out there and did the old pat on the shoulder and told me we had added some more stuff.
Okay.
The guy wants to be able to travel across country and he wants a full-size spare.
We're in a shop where we do higher caliber builds. Parts, everything's usually custom made, so we have to fabricate them here, or we have to source them from the right people to get them on time. So 4 wheels, not a problem. 6 wheels, definitely not a problem. 1 wheel is going to be our problem.
It's not my problem, buddy. That's yours.
Thanks, Timmy.
You know, there's no such thing as a stock 7th wheel mount, so we got to make one. We got to make this 7th wheel mount rigid enough to hold this big, heavy wheel.
We got all of our pieces cut. We should have all of our angles right. So we got our spacer that simulates the angle of the wheel. We got our smaller spacer in the back, so we got a little tilt to the wheel. So when you look down into the bed, you'll be able to see that nice displayed wheel. So I'm gonna start putting the pieces together real quick. We'll tack it all up and we'll see if it fits. You always start out with the vision that you have in your head of the basic idea.
Top needs to go back.
You know, once you start building it, you don't want to get dead set in your ways. You want to improve every time you build something. So even if it's something to just building a wheel holder, you always want to think of different ideas. And you know, usually those ideas keep us way behind schedule. Let's put another tack on this.
You know, mounting a 7th wheel in this 2006 Kodiak isn't what I call a common request. But that's what makes it fun coming to work in the morning. You know, making the unexpected look like it should have came like that from the beginning.
Let's unclamp this thing, see if it fits in. So we got to cut that off so it don't hit the wheel, huh? Just mark with a soapstone, and we'll just weld it up and grind it from there. Good, man. Yeah, come out nice. I mean, it's got some strong mounting points on it. It looks good, man. This thing's gonna last forever. Yep, no doubt. We want that big, heavy wheel on this thing, shaking, going down the road. You know, start fatiguing everything if it wasn't built super strong, and that's what we got. So looks good. It's clean, strong. Go. Let's do it. All right.
While John and his team are finishing up the interior, we're rolling the 71 Suburban right into a bay so we can get started on that brand new custom air suspension lift.
So we finally got this old Suburban inside the shop. We're gonna take it, break it down. We're gonna take everything off of it that's on there. Take all the suspension out from under it, shocks out, axles out. We're gonna get it up as high as we can, make it look really aggressive, have some fun. So the advantage to working on an older vehicle is that they're a lot more simple. The disadvantage is everything's froze up and a lot harder to get off and loose. If you've got the right tools, some rusty parts won't stop you. Finally got the front off, completely disconnected, all the hardware and everything disassembled. Time to move on to the back. This drive shaft's reusable, so it can actually be shortened or lengthened because it's welded. We're going to keep this slip yoke for this transmission and hook. Let's put it on here first. All right.
Now we can take it up there and pick it up, put it on this.
Sweet. Thank you, sir. All right, so we finally got everything off the truck. Front axle, rear axle, all the suspension parts. We can bring in all the new stuff, and we can get this thing up in the air where we want it.
We tore out all the old suspension and cleaned up the stock front and rear axles. So now Jamie and I can start mocking up the air suspension.
Whoa, that's probably pretty good, huh?
Uh-huh.
What we're gonna do with this thing is an air suspension lift. Okay. It has some nice airbags on this thing, nice shot, big 4-lane.
Oh, yeah.
So first things first, let's get the rear end located with the air deflated. Okay. And once that's located, we'll weld a pipe down to the axle so it can't go anywhere. Okay. Drop it down a little bit.
You know, this thing's gonna have a big 40-inch tire, but he's also wanting to tow his camper with this thing too. So we can't just go crazy and just make it way off the ground. We want this thing to have a low stance and also be able to air this thing up and get it way off the ground and just be really aggressive. Get it bolted up real quick and point it at it. You know, try to get it 0 degrees here. Pretty close.
These old Suburbans are unique. You don't see a lot of them on the road anymore. Everybody wants a short wheelbase, you know, fleet side, but not too many people build these Suburbans. That in itself is pretty cool. I mean, think about during the flood, how many people would have loved to have one of these and put all your stuff in it, not get nothing wet. I mean, it's got multiple uses for something like this. I'm actually looking forward to building it.
Scoot it back a little bit. Let's see what you got from center to here. 20 1/4? That's on the money, 20 1/4. So we got everything 100% level, 100% true, square. The rear end is located exactly where this thing needs to be. So now we can start building our 4-link from the axle all the way up to the frame. Man, we can run a string line.
I think I can shoot one straight all the way back, right underneath the axle.
Let's just drop this thing down. Then we can hold a string line here to the center of the axle and get it parallel with the frame. Then we measure it right down here to the center of the string. So we know center to here where our measurement's at. Can we hold this real quick? Go down, Tim. A lot more of the front axle is to get it perfectly level with the back. So when you let all the air out of the suspension, this truck still sits level, even though there's, you know, no air in it. And then you air it up from there. Then you got a perfectly level truck as it's going down the road.
Like I'm kickstarting a Harley over here.
Looks good, huh?
Yeah, everything. Both axles are right where they need to be.
Man, perfectly centered, perfectly level, and at the perfect height with everything all bottomed out. We can get busy building.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready.
We've lined up the front and rear axles on this 1971 Suburban for our custom lift. And now we can get to building it. You know, one of the major pieces of a custom lift like this is the hanger. The hanger needs to be super strong, and it serves many purposes of locating where the pivot points are in the suspension, so everything articulates and flows together, rides right, doesn't bind the drive shaft up. There's a lot of importance in locating the hanger in the right place, and the distance in between the two pivot points, you know, that reacts, you know, driving on the road 90 miles an hour versus off-road. You know, there's a lot of little intricacies in building a hanger like this, and you know, you gotta add some style to it too and make it cool. You know, next step is just going to burn the hanger pieces out. What up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Here we go, man. So I need to build these hangers. So make these at 1/4 inch so they're super strong, and we'll box it all in.
I got it. So I took this, drew my box, got my measurements. Now it's time for the computer to do its thing. Okay, now I'm just cleaning up these rough edges, punch these holes out, and take it over to Bill.
Okay, so I got the base of the hanger Jesse just brought back over. So I'm gonna go ahead and mock everything up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my plates to box everything in to give it the strength. It's real early in life my grandfather had given me. Then I went to taking stuff apart, like everything. I remember my mom bought me an RC car. For the world of me, I thought, I'll just put a vacuum cleaner motor on it and it'll work. That never went back together, the vacuum or the car. So from basically being young to taking things apart to being older now to taking bigger things apart, some things just don't change. All right, so now that I got these two pieces on the side right here, I'm gonna go ahead and weld all on the inside right here. So that way to be as strong as possible, I have a weld on the inside and a weld on the outside. Okay, so basically right now I made some gussets right here. This is pretty much the last piece to be able to mount this on where it's solid. All right, so got all these welded up, all the gussets done. So this is ready to go up underneath the truck, and we'll just keep going. We got our hangers made. You know, the next step on getting this bad boy all the way up and down is building the 4-link from the hangers all the way back to the rear end. We're making our 4-link bars, so we want everything 100% true, square, full size. So what we're going to do is make a little parts to be exactly the same length. So when we mock up one side, we're going to use the bars to mock up the other side. So our bracketry, everything is 100% true and identical. Okay, so I got the link bars welded up. Everything's cleaned off of them. Now it's time to go ahead and bolt them up. Get them on the truck.
We got our bars 100% true with each other off our jig. By using the 4-link bar, that tells us exactly where our mounts are. So everything else is 100% square. So that lines all the bars, all the brackets, everything up 100%. Now all we got to do is tack it on and keep rolling.
See, I got both the upper and lower link bars on. Everything looks parallel. Everything's bolted up. Like the way it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the rear now.
The 7th wheel hitch is back from powder coat on the 2006 Kodiak. We're just missing the 7th wheel and tire. And then this extra large build will be ready to go home.
Hey, Val. One wheel, one tire, mounted balance, ready to go.
How'd you do that?
Very carefully. Yeah, called in a few favors, but we got what we needed, so.
All right.
Heads up, it's heavy.
All right.
Going from point A to point B is not always a straight line. You know, there's always obstacles, and, you know, we just have to find the part, because when they come in and say, hey, Max, I need the part, that's what I do. I find the part. See how much bigger than you are.
It's almost as big as me.
Always loved Kodiaks. It goes all the way back to 2006 when I had my own. You know, I love driving that thing. I love just the girth of the truck and just being different from everyone else. So when this truck showed up, showing its age, I knew exactly what to do to make this thing 100% right. What's up, Vinny?
What's up, Bill?
How you doing, man?
Good, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Beautiful day to get a Kodiak back, huh?
Yes, sir. I've been waiting. I can't wait.
I know, man. I'm really excited. Man, you came in, this thing, it was hurt.
Yeah, it needed help. It's an iconic truck, but it needed a facelift. That's why we brought it to you. Purchased the Kodiak about 6 years ago. We tried to do a little stuff ourselves to get it to ride better and look a little bit help. I ran into a guy at a show in Arizona who told me to take it to Texas. That's why I said, take it to Texas. And we hauled us out here.
That big truck just commands attention when it drives up. Maybe a little unwanted attention in some areas.
Attention in the wrong spots. Put it that way, yes, sir.
Man, we addressed all those things. We got this thing looking good, riding good.
I just can't wait. Let's do it.
Man, I'm ready too, man. Jamie, come on with it.
Oh my God, Bill. No way. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Yeah, the headlights, the grill. That is bad. I love it. It don't look old anymore.
No.
Oh my gosh. Woo. It looks like a totally different truck. I don't even know where to start.
Hey, I told you we got you, man.
I know. Hey, I believe you, but now I really believe you. That's crazy. Oh my God, yes. That's what I'm talking about. Woohoo. That's so cool. Oh man, it's over the top.
What you think?
I like it.
What up, man?
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know what to say. Takes my breath away. It's awesome.
Vinny, you see this thing pull up, it commands attention.
Yes, sir.
Right? From the new headlights, stretch bumper, new grill, running boards on this thing, fresh coat of paint all the way through it.
All man, those are sick.
Drop low to the ground.
Yeah.
Totally changes the whole stance.
I don't even know there's enough words to say how excited I am. It's sick.
Man, I appreciate that. I think so too, man. I mean, it's something we're definitely proud of.
Oh, yeah.
It looks cool, man.
Yeah,
it's a cool truck.
Absolutely.
I got one more surprise for you.
Oh, okay.
Check it out.
All right. Man, Bill, that's awesome.
I know you wanted something back here to show off your other wheel, and you never know, you might have a flat, right?
1,200-mile drive. I want to make sure I'm safe. You don't want to take no chances.
That's it, man.
So this is the first 7th wheel I've seen. Man, Bill had a great idea how to recess it in the hitch. Go ahead and tie it in the toolbox, make it kind of look like it's floating. Man, it came out awesome.
Good job. You guys killed it. Nice.
Appreciate it, man. I love when we get these trucks in the shop, bringing them back to life, making an older truck look brand new. Doesn't get better than that. The 4-link is done on the 1971 Suburban's custom lift. So now we can get to building the bag mounts, the point off of which the airbags will attach. Turn it all the way one way and then back to where you're at, and then all the way the other way and back to where you're at. One last thing we got to do before we build the lower bag mounts is our steering. So we need to build our steering cross-link and have all that, the steering and the lower bag mount, and plenty of room for the bag itself. So last thing we want to do is build this thing again. Okay, so we got the steering, everything's hooked up, everything looks pretty good, everything moves freely. So it looks like we have enough space for the bag bracket right here, so I'm going to go ahead and start making these right now. Alright, so my process is doing a bunch of bag mounts. Basically, my first thing is I'm going to get all my material cut to length I'm going to need, and I always cut a little over because you're going to trim back and cope everything. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking off little bit by little bit until it fits, and to make sure that the bends are all in the same place, they're all coped on the axle the same height, and everything's even underneath the back plate. It's a lot of cutting, grinding, coping, but once it's in, it's in. Man, Jamie, it looks really, really good. We got a nice foundation. Now we can really get down to business and really start letting the creativity and the fabrication all come together and make something really cool. The owner of the Suburban wants to be able to haul a trailer with the lower bag mount to the frame to hold all that trailer weight. I just made a quick little template from the other side, my center punch holes, so we can duplicate this side so everything's 100% same. Once we had the center punches on both sides, we can drill our holes and then bolt our upper bag mounts right to the frame, and then build our bag mounts right down to the back. Jamie's rolling some pipe, then we're gonna chop it up and then get it fitting.
Okay, so you can see, basically I'm running these pipes in at the same time. Each one I do the same way, so I have the same bend right in here. If I was just to hit the button down, it would be all kinked, and if I just did one, then did the other one, it wouldn't be any good. So this is just the way to do it properly, is go ahead and just do each one. Every time I drop the machine down, I'll run another piece of suit to make a nice circle on them. So you just gotta do it over and over again. Patience, slow and steady wins the race. All right, so basically I'm trying to make a perfect circle so I can cut this and use each side for each one of these to be the same radius to the bag mount. So when you do look at it, it's going to be perfectly the same. It's really important, for it to look right, because otherwise it's really going to draw your eye if it doesn't flow with everything else. Not only does it need to look right truck, because all the air is on this bag, so this is going to be basically holding up this axle. So the structure is going to be there. The flow, it's going to look like it was made like this. So people that know about custom cars, welders, fabricators are definitely going to notice how much fabrication time went into something like this, putting this together. It's something I really look for and appreciate when I see it in other builds.
The cool thing about this, you can get lifts done anywhere, but none of them look like this. I mean, this is our cool little signature stamp on this thing is, not only riding good, handling good, but to have the styling of the bent pipe. That's one thing that sets this thing apart from all the others on the road.
Hey, what's up, buddy? It's Max over at Extensive. One of the toughest things about this job is managing all the builds going on at the same time. I'm in kind of a bind and I need some help. If you're not highly organized, it'll pile up on you and you will crash and burn. My love for cars came at a young age. When I was young, I got magazines that had all the custom cars in them, and I just thought that was the coolest thing, that they always cut them up and change stuff, and I was always about that. I've been in the automotive industry for probably, and then got into the custom car game, and I got the opportunity to come down here. So picked up a family, moved to Texas, and the rest has just been great. Yeah, man, no, I really appreciate it, man. You're helping me out a ton. What I like about working at Extensive is the camaraderie of everybody that works here. We're all here to build cool stuff. We're all on the same agenda, and the energy here is really, really cool. It's a fast-paced shop, but I'm a fast-paced kind of guy, so we mesh really well.
Now that the custom lift's back from powder coat and installed on the 71 Suburban, John can take all the handmade pieces and start wrapping.
You know, looking at this door panel, everything's working out really good. I got it nice and deep inside the pocket. I got one more little trouble spot to work out. We'll be home free. All right. Looks like luck might be on our side today. Next thing we gotta do, finish wrapping that around. Then we'll go over everything, hit it with some heat, get it warmed up. This thing's gonna look beautiful. Put a little bit of vinyl down in the bottom of that hole, and put it on.
You know, with over 10 feet of cabin space, John and his team have a lot of wrapping and installing to do. It's just like Christmas. Headliner, seats, new audio. Well, at least for now. I know when Ronald sees this truck, he's going to be blown away. I mean, it's just such a huge transformation. What's happening, Ron?
What's going on, Bill?
Long trip, huh?
It was a long trip, man, all the way in from Maryland.
Man, it's good to have you down. It's good to, I guess, to finally meet you in person.
I'm glad to be here, man. I'm excited to see this truck. Flew out here to Extensive today, and I've really been anxious to see this truck, and all my friends know I'm driving everybody crazy. So I'm really excited to get in this thing and just drive it as much as possible.
Ron, I know, you bought the truck on the internet, right?
Yeah, I did.
It wasn't really quite what you wanted, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
So that's why we're here.
That's right, man. It needs some loving.
You wanted something that rode really nice and looked cool when you're pulling your travel trailer.
I wanted it better than it was.
It's more than a little better.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Way more than a little better.
I'm sure it is. I can't stand it right now, man. I'm ready.
Let's check it out.
Let's bring her out. Yes, sir. Look at this.
What you think, man? Mean coming at you, doesn't it?
Mean ain't the word for it. Look at this thing. This is beautiful. Yeah. Woo! Nice. She is sitting on those tires, man. That is insane. Oh my God.
She looks a little different, doesn't she?
She looks a whole lot different. I am slammed. This is everything that I imagined. I mean, this is just phenomenal, man.
You haven't seen another 3-door looking like this?
Never, no. You can go online and never find one like this.
That's right.
This is it.
I'd cruise that one for sure.
Definitely.
That's a highway runner.
Oh, I can't wait, man. We're going to use it. It's not going to sit in the parking lot somewhere. This is going to be on the road, and it's going to be going.
Where it needs to be.
And everybody's going to be looking. There's going to be turning heads, man.
The first thing you see of the wheels and tires and that big suspension underneath of it. Got to work building you a cool custom 4 links front and rear.
The size of all that tubing, I mean, it's incredible. The strength you put underneath there. I see it. I mean, you can't miss it. It's beautiful. I love the wheels. Perfect choice, man.
Yeah, man, that thing looks really, really good. I mean, it's something we're definitely proud of.
Oh, yeah, the stance, the size. When you see it coming at you, it says get out the way.
That's right. Yeah, man, the stance on it is killer. It's mean.
That's what you want, right?
Yeah, man. It's everything I wanted. I love it.
Pretty okay.
That's pretty okay.
John, let's let him check out the inside.
All right, let's check this out.
Oh, look at this, man. Oh, God, you killed it.
John and the boys always kill it on interiors. Always.
I know that's right, man.
Yeah, so we just went through everything, from top to bottom. New carpet, redid the seats.
That's right.
Redid the door panels. Got all that brown in there. We pulled the pleats into the doors to match the seats. We went ahead and did the headliner, put some lights up in there so you got some mood lighting when you're cruising down the road.
There you go.
New radio in the dash, new system all the way around, subwoofer enclosure in the back. Everybody will hear you coming too, so.
They'll see me coming before they hear me.
That's questionable.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys blew it out of the water. This is phenomenal, man. I mean, it's going to go a step further because it's coming back to you, and you're going to do some more work to it. But for right now, this is headed in the right direction.
Ron, getting projects like this in, it just really, it wakes everybody up, you know, just it reignites everybody's fire, it gets that passion going again, and just the creativity just really starts flowing, obviously.
You know, this is my first project car, and I'm hooked, man. I mean, hook, line, and sinker. It's contagious, but I mean, I want to see this thing go as far as I can take it.
Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, however you want to do it.
I'm stoked.
I know you can say Phase 1 was a complete success. All right, Ronald, enjoy this truck. I'm sure I'll be seeing you real soon for Phase 2, so come on with it.